Hello everyone, if you're new to my channel, consider liking and subscribing. It will make me feel wonderful if you do that. Thanks. By the way, I also have another Naruto and Luffy fanfiction channel. If you are interested, link is in the description.
Please sign here by 2ILVR80X. Pirate King Monkey D. Luffy has agreed to go back in time some years when he was first starting out as a pirate. It is clear this decision was based due to his dead crew. No doubt he wishes to stop their demise. All details are on his contract, but he has agreed to take me with him, and off this godforsaken rock. I don't own anything. Adios.
BARATIE name, Sanji occupation, pirate, cook, prince, former. Residence, Barati, former, Jerma Kingdom, former. Epithet, black leg. Mr. Prince age, 19 status, alive. Birth, March, 2 height, 177 centimeters bounty, 77 million, 177 million, 330 million. Family, Zeph, father figure, Sora, mother, relations. Vinsmoke family, former, Barati chefs, resigned, still loved. Travila, respects food, loves women, chivalry to the point of death, man in the Iron Mask story. 2 brands of cigarettes, King Ground and Death. Melorine is like ice cream. Hokuto no Ken is on his knife. Never been sick. Name means 3 o'clock snack. 3rd son of family. 3rd strongest, irritating wanted posters. Similar to Sabo, can read woman's breast, hip, waist sizes. Stephen Buscemi, hair natural blonde from mother. Don Krieg pirates. The hourglasses on Don Krieg's skull and bones are supposed to indicate the time left until the death of their prey, so it holds meaning like, it's only a matter of time until your surrender. Krieg's age, 42. Barati patty is named after patisserie. Carne is the Spanish word for meat. Zeph's mustache is braided hair. The technical name is, somehow okay hair. Ooh, it doesn't make any sense, Zoro, please just accept it. I won't, it's stupid, that how the rules are traditionally set in place. Well, it is a stupid rule then. Zoro, said pissed off swordsman, throws his hands in the air. I'm just saying there is no way paper could beat rock. Rock is clearly the strongest. Paper is pretty good too, oil adds lamely. Zoro crosses his arms, completely and utterly done, whatever, rock should always win. You're really not good at this, Tobio correctly observes. Shut up, wow, what a great comeback Zoro. Oil sighs, do you wish to try again? As if they have not played 48 times already. Yes, he says with conviction. Okay, rock, paper, scissors. Damn, please, stop choosing rock, never. It is strange to say how they got to this position where Oil thought it would be a fun challenge to outsmart the other, but rather leading to Zoro gambling half the morning away. Oil's morning training turned into a children's game of who can beat out who in a game of rock, paper, scissors. Oil was actually excited about her strategy playing out. They wished to calculate their chances, check the percentages of each move, and see what the collected data had gestured to the simple children's game. However, at the end it had all gone to waste in favor of Zoro being a stubborn moron. You are really not smart, Tobio again correctly observes. Shut up, Zoro intelligently comes back. She, Zoro is a sore loser, Luffy laughs, playing cannonball happily in hands. Come on, Usopp, let's try this. Tobio looks at them longingly, I want to try. No, you don't, Gonzo snaps, from the houseboat right next to the Marys. Last thing you need is to be playing with weapons. They tied the little boat on the right, next to the Mary, making it easier to communicate. Tobio enjoyed the wider space the Mary provided though. Hey, Luffy hands Usopp the ball easily, making Usopp struggle to not drop it. My grandpa let me play with all kinds of weapons when I was his age. Look how I turned out. Gonzo looks at him for a silent moment, then gives Tobio a level stare. Tobio understands, nodding obediently, yes, grandpa. Luffy feels he got insulted somewhere in there. Oil whips their head at the sight. Captain, are you sure you want to do this? They would hope he would remember what happened the first time, but mistakes do happen. Luffy waves his hands carelessly. Yeah, it will be fine. Luffy has an idea what he wants to do. It would be a waste not to use it. Usopp finally puts the cannonball in the cannon, aiming it over the ship. Huff, got it. Luffy pushes him out of the way. Me first. He lights up the sucker, trying to aim anywhere close to the rock formation in the distance. I missed. No amount of observation hockey is going to make him better at a gun. Nami comes down the stairs at the sound of an explosion. What are you guys doing? Seeing Luffy in front of a cannon did not fill her with comfort. Luffy and Usopp give matching cheeky grins, cannon practice. Usopp puts his hands on his hips. Stand aside my amateur friend, and watch a master at work. He stands to move the cannon at the faraway rock, judging the distance between here and the target. This should about do it. Wait, Usopp, Luffy puts a hand on his shoulder. Can you just fire right over that rock? Usopp raises a brow. Not hit it? Okay. He shrugs and moves the cannonball to sail perfectly over the rock. Splash. Luffy jumps in amazement. Amazing. It was like a millimeter away. You're right, it was. Usopp says more out of shock, but quickly turning to smug. I mean, of course, when it comes to aiming, I know everything, don't you think? Zoro smirks overhearing. You sound pretty surprised to me. Usopp turns quickly on Zoro. This is my first cannon fire, alright. Luffy ropes an arm around the sniper. Looks like I really did get the best sniper in the East Blue. Usopp gives a weak laugh at the genuine compliment. Why yeah, of course. Actually, Usopp gains more confidence. If you need someone for first mate position, he points to himself, I will more than gladly take the place. Just as Luffy is about to open his mouth to answer, Zoro interrupts his own pity party. Nah, the position is taken. Both boys look to a still ticked off Zoro staring at his own hands in a rock position. Who? They both chorus. Zoro doesn't look away from his hands, as if they had all the answers. I'm first mate. Luffy's jaw drops. You are? How did you not know that? Everyone but Oil react. Gonzo shakes his head. I swear, how are you going to be king with that attitude? Luffy sheepishly smiles, scratching the back of his head. Forgive me, Captain, but I took the liberty of asking Zoro to hold the position. Oil plainly states, choosing paper again to Zoro's dismay. Do you disagree? Luffy thinks about it and shrugs. Nah. He gives his big grin. Sorry, Usopp, but it looks like Zoro is that. Usopp sags a bit. Figures. Asked too late, he still feels a little down about it. While he doesn't feel like fighting for Captain, he still felt he should be useful to the crew somehow. But Luffy shakes his shoulder a bit. You can be my second mate. Usopp tries to play it cool despite his obvious excitement. Alright, I guess I can settle for that for the time being. Nami rolls her eyes. We'll shape up everyone, we should be reaching this floating restaurant soon. Wait, Nami. Luffy points over the ship. Go to the rock, I think I see something. Nami looks over. What? I don't see a thing. Well, I do, he childishly responds. Nami sighs. Alright, she turns the ship to the damn rock. Luffy grins. I can't wait to get to the Barati. Zoro smiles softly, an indispensable crew member for the long voyage. Luffy grins only widens at the irony of Zoro looking forward to his biggest headache. You think so too, right? The guy the first have in mind is perfect for you, Zoro. Zoro raises a brow but looks forward to meeting this guy Luffy thinks so highly of. So far his choices had been strange, but they're good people. Nakama he can trust. What more can you ask of a crew member? Luffy knew how well Sanji and Zoro got along. That saying, not very well. They were just so similar. Like knife on a knife, sharpening each other with competition and challenges. But he knows that Sanji and Zoro care for each other like brothers, even if they would rather have their tongues cut off before admitting it. They were so funny like that. Maybe that's why Sanji doesn't like Zoro, because his hair reminds him of his dirt brothers. But Sanji isn't so shallow to not like someone based on their looks. He only doesn't like you if you are a boy or an asshole. Luffy nods. We need a critical position of the crew to be filled. Get anywhere on the Grand Line. Nami raises a brow, a little impressed with the maturity Luffy was showing over the seriousness of getting a crew member. He takes a grave breath. A musician? Are you retarded? Never mind. And here I thought you were going to say something smart for once. Usopp sweat drops. Do you have any idea what sailing on the sea is like? I don't know why you are so insistent about this. We shall get him later. Oil barely raises her voice. Are you guys going to die? Shut up, Tobio, Zoro spats. Luffy just laughs. A pirate group needs to sing. Come out, you damn pirates. Just try to pull something. Ah, just in time. Luffy sees Zoro suddenly sit up. That voice. What? Luffy looks over the edge at the rock formation they finally sailed to. Who the hell are you? Unnecessary question as Johnny looks back up at him, ready for murder. Blue jacket, tattoo on his face, sword in hand, slightly tanned skin, and dark glass perfectly covering his eyes. He sneers. Who I am? I should be the one asking. He tries to look intimidating with his swords in hand. Partner poorly hidden to the side, passed out on the floor. Who the hell do you think you are? Luffy hums. Luffy, future king of the pirates. Gonzo takes a peek from his home ship. What's with all this yelling? Johnny starts looking at the strange group but not letting his guard down. Don't come any closer. I've killed countless of infamous pirates. Probably a lie. I won't let some no-name pirates like you kill my partner. Gonzo just stares at this guy, not even flinching. Johnny stares right back, a drop of sweat falling down his face. Gonzo stares. Johnny stares. Gonzo goes back into his houseboat. Hey, don't just ignore him. Zoro finally gets up quickly to see overboard. The hell, Johnny? Said swordsman lowers his swords slightly at the sight of his friend. Zoro bro. You're on a pirate ship, bro? Usopp whispers to Nami. What's going on? Those two know each other. Small blue, I guess. Nami whispers back. Zoro jumps off the Mary on the rock. What's wrong? He looks to see his other friend on the floor. What's wrong with Yosaku? The guy grits his teeth. Why Yosaku is? He's sick, he cries to his partner on the floor. Luffy and Zoro easily and gently take the guy on the Mary. Johnny's in Yosaku's boat behind her. He had a weird headband and a green jacket. His plaid shorts showed off some very unshaven legs, but nobody seemed to mind his horrible fashion. Once on board, they got the story. Yosaku is. He was perfectly fine until a while ago. Then he grew pale and started to lose consciousness. I have no clue why. He puts his head in his hands on the verge of crying. Lately, his teeth started falling out. And his old wounds have started to bleed again. I just don't know what to do anymore. So I took him to that rocky island, to let him rest. I saw your cannonball and panicked. Usopp felt his neck sweat. If he had hit the rock, he turns to Luffy, did you? Luffy winks, and points to oil behind his hand not so subtly. Magic, he whispers. They really wish they had visible eyes to roll. Johnny continues bawling, Yosaku and Johnny. We were infamous enough to have pirates shaking in their boots at the mere mention of our names. We've lived and worked together as bounty hunters for years. Is this how it is going to end? Zoro actually looks aghast at the whole situation, putting a hand on Johnny's shoulder to comfort. He didn't make friends often, Kuina being his first and only friend for the longest time. Even if it was only a couple of months, Johnny and Yosaku were the first friends he had made on his own, his first connection with other people in years. Oil watches his reaction in surprise. Not that they doubted Zoro cared, but by how much emotion he was showing. Truthfully, they had nearly forgotten about these two as they made a little impact on the story overall. They aren't really sure what history they had with Zoro beside working together for a time, but it was clear he genuinely cares about them. Nami is not as sympathetic. Are you stupid? Zoro glares at her. What did you just say? If looks could kill, Nami would have died, been brought back to life, and died again. Even Johnny got out of his teary haze. Lady, I won't let you go free mocking my partner's suffering. Gonzo shakes his head, feeling a little more tactful. Young man, that man has scurvy. Huh? Nami rolls her eyes. Luffy? Usopp? Tobio? There are some limes in the storage, aren't there? Bring them to me, right now. Aye. The three boys run fast, ready to obey orders, tripping over Tobio. Get out of my way. You get out of my way. You're both in my way. Gonzo shakes his head at their antics. We're lucky to have stumbled upon you. He watches as the three come back, hands full of limes. Usopp lifts the guy's head, Tobio squeezing the limes, and Luffy shoving the juice down his throat. Any longer and he could have died. Johnny looks like he's almost crying again until Nami intervenes. We've got him in time. He should recover in a few days. Are you sure, sister? He bows his head. I'm really grateful, sis. Don't call me sis. Nami closes her eyes at this buffoonery. Oil quietly looks at Johnny from behind Nami. He seems quite surprised his friend will not die. The man goes from murderous to teary to happy all within 5 minutes. How exciting to use so many emotions, she almost can't keep up. Zoro waves his hand. He is just an emotional dude. They both are. He shakes his head. They tend to overreact a lot because of that. In the past, it was an incurable disease that plagued sailors. Tobio pokes the guy's throat, hoping he isn't downing. Come on, drink up. But now, it's just a minor problem, caused by the lack of vitamin C. Nami continues very smartly. In the past, ships couldn't carry enough fresh fruit to avoid it. That's the last of it. Usopp put his head down. He should be fine now. If he doesn't drown, I mean. He should be fine. He can swim, Luffy reassures. Cut the crap. That's not how it works, Tobio yells at both of them. Johnny stares at his partner. It's working. He's recovering. Yosaku jumps up suddenly, skipping about. Alright, I'm charged up on nutrients and ready for action. Johnny jumps with him. Welcome back, partner. With Usopp and Luffy joining in, the kick line was unavoidable. Nutrients. You don't recover that quickly, Nami snaps again. These people, Tobio watches half in awe, half in horror, aren't human. No, they are. They are just morons, Oil helpfully supplies. Both bounty hunters stop their actions and stand in a cool pose, mirroring each other. Left hand placed under Johnny's chin. Pardon us for not introducing ourselves. My name's Johnny. Right hand to Yosaku's mouth, with a cigarette that came out of nowhere. And I'm Yosaku. Should he be smoking? We are the pirate hunters. Zoro bro used to be one of us too, he finishes his line. It's a pleasure to meet all of you, both say quiet politely. Nice to meet you, Luffy being the only one to return the niceties. Zoro smiles at his friend's antics. I never thought I would see you two again. I don't know how to thank you, Yosaku says lightly. I thought I was a goner for sure. Johnny gives a light-hearted laugh as well. Yeah, I never expected to see you here, either bro. But I'm even more surprised. He chuckles a bit. The pirate hunter has become a pirate himself. Huh? Big bro. Yosaku did a double at his long-lost bro and spats out some blood falling to the floor. Yosaku. Johnny goes back into panic mode. Just shut up and get some rest already, Zoro yells at his two friends. After cleaning Yosaku up, he was left to actually rest on the floor. Nami sighs, let this be a lesson for us. Oil nods, pulling out their journal to date their log entry, never trust emotional outbursts. She meant the scurvy, paper cut. Zoro rolls his eyes. These kinds of things can happen, especially since we don't have much room for food on this ship. Usopp nods, turning to Luffy. Not to doubt you or anything, but this chef you keep talking about. Is he really as good as you say? We need someone who can see we stay healthy after all. Luffy grins, he is the best in all of the 6 C's. Gonzo huffs, it took me years to master getting the best ingredients for my customs. He'll have to be border-like biologist if he could handle the grand line. Johnny picks up at the news, if you're looking for such a great cook, I know where you could go. That's is not necessary, Oil cuts him off, we are already going to the Barati. Johnny deflates a little, oh, so you've been there? They shake their head, not physically. Johnny blinks at that. Only Luffy, who gives a happy wave. Johnny thinks that seems legit. The rest of you guys are going to love it then. The turns to the rest of the crew. The floating restaurant of the sea. Then I guess you know that the man that Big Bro's been hunting for, Hawkeye, is around there too. Zoro heart fucking stops at that. He doesn't show it, which is quite impressive, but Luffy could hear it. Zoro looks right at Luffy, his eyes waiting. Luffy meets his gaze. He nods only once. It might as well have been set in stone then. Zoro grits his teeth. Mihawk will be there. He isn't ready. He isn't near fucking ready if half of what Luffy said was true. But it doesn't matter. If that man is there, then he is going to fight him. One way or another. Luffy looks on, deciding what to do. What to say? Could he say anything? Is there anything to be said? Zoro is going to fight Mihawk one way or another. Oil pats Zoro lightly on the shoulder, surprising both men. Fight well, they say in their monotone voice. Zoro looks down, a feral grin crossing his features. Don't tell me what to do. Oil shrugs. Die then, just as monotone. Luffy was sure he laughed the whole 2 days it took to get to the familiar floating fish restaurant in the distant. It was hilarious in design, but it is absolutely recognizable from miles away. Almost a symbol of hope to those with empty bellies. Luffy was trying his damnedest not to break Mary's floorboards by how high he was jumping. Sanji, 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 food, food, food. Johnny grins as well. Zoro bro, Usopp bro, Luffy bro, Tobio bro, Master Gonzo, Oil bro, Nami bro, what you guys think? Why am I brother now? Nami snaps. Oil recalls 2 days ago, you asked for this Nami. Nami pouts, what about you? Gender, like time, is a social construct, Oil explains. Usopp gapes at the sight, oh, that's a humongous fish. Luffy grins, isn't it amazing? Even Nami gives a low whistle at the sight, it really is, amazing. Tobio was jumping at the rails, it's so funky, yeah. It's really shit, Usopp interrupts himself, jumping a foot back, a marine ship? Way out here? Nami looks in the direction Usopp was referring to, it didn't come all this way just to attack us, did it? Zoro grits his teeth, I smell trouble. Yosuke and Johnny shiver behind the boat's railing as the marine vessel approached. Hey, we ain't pirates over here. Oil stares at the two, I thought you were fearless bounty hunters? Yosuke took no mind to her, yeah, bounty hunters. Hunting pirates. The government is another thing completely. Some pink-haired bitch came out walking on the marine ship like he owned the damn thing. I've never seen your pirate mark before. Luffy could feel his eyeballs roll into the back of his head. He could not care less about what this guy is saying. I'm the marine lieutenant, he said like anybody actually cared. Iron fist, full body. But you can call me sir. Who's your captain? Show yourself. The Straw Hat Pirates kept sailing. Hey, don't ignore me. Nami looks back at the marine vessel. Luffy? Is it really okay to just keep? Yes, Luffy says without a hint of doubt in his voice. I just don't care. Is it possible to negative care? He is sure if he had to deal with a moron like that his soul will leave his body, and he just got this thing. He wants to see Sanji. Now, let's head to the restaurant. Full Body felt his whole body twitch. How dare they ignore him? That ship is an eyesore. Sink it. The Marines blindly follow their orders, and prep the cannons. They are firing at us, Johnny screams fruitlessly. Yup, Tobio watching with almost a bored look, those poor bastards, he gives Nami a wink. She winks back. Language, Gonzo lightly chastises but is kinda interested in where this is going. What's wrong with you people? Johnny is stomping his feet on the ground, trying to make a point in that they all might die. But in his excitement, he drops some paper to the floor, as the Straw Hat effect claims another victim into taking horrors lightly. Nami picks them up with some interest. What's all this? Johnny looks down at the mess he made. Oh, these are all people with bounties on their heads, Nami sis. He means that if we get him, we get the money offered on their wanted poster. He doesn't seem to notice how she picks up one in particular. Hands slightly crumbling the edges. Don't you think it's good business, sis? Luffy notices though. Shit, he really does not want to deal with this. He wanted Nami to trust him to beat up her guy and for them to be nakama. He wants her to be free. To be happy. He wants to kick Arlong's ass to Kingdom Come and never look back. But he wants this to be Nami's choice. Yosaku brings him back to the present. This is bad. They're aiming right at us. Even Usopp looked on lightly. Wow. He turns to Zoro. So this is the feeling? Zoro nods, arms folded. Yup. Usopp puts a hand at his chin, contemplatively. I see. What's wrong with you people? Yosaku barks. Usopp calmly turns to him, waving his hand. Don't get me wrong. I am as terrified as you are, but... He trails off at the end looking a little conflicted. I mean, with that guy on board, he points to Luffy. It just feels like they're wasting ammo. Luffy smiles as he gets on the railings. Captain coat slightly flapping in the breeze. Let's get this over with. The cannon was shot. Gum. He blows his body up. Balloon. That's new. Usopp sounding slightly surprised. Seen it. Oil drawls. Awesome. Tobio cheers, jumping a bit on his feet. The cannonball hits right at Luffy and bounces back into the Marine's ship. Well, at least you didn't cause any major damage this time, Oil mutters as their captain shrinks back to normal size. Full Body stands in horror at the sight of his wrecked ship as the threat of sinking becomes more and more imminent. You bastard. You fired on us. Luffy fixes his hat. We don't even have bounties or anything. He sticks out his tongue and stretches one eye down. Dumbass. Yosaku and Johnny stand in horror at the sight. Why would you do that? So we wouldn't get hit, Zoro explains. He knew his friends weren't the smartest, but anyone could have seen that. Hey, US bags. Attention from both ships turns to a single person on the Barati yelling at them. He was a larger man with a goatee and a huge mouth. Listen up. You can kill each other on your own time, but at this restaurant, there is no fighting, you hear me? Luffy grins at the beautifully mustached man. You got it, old man. Full Body grumbles, get that hole repaired. He snaps at his troops. He will get his revenge one way or another. Sir, yes sir. They start scrambling to fix the hole. The chef snorts at the pathetic display, turning his attention back to the pirate in front of him. Are you customers? Or should I kick you out now? He yells as Luffy and crew board the Barati. Luffy grins, paying customers. Nami huffs, this is coming out of your allowance. The man's mood did a complete 180. Well, if that's the case, please follow me to your table. Most beloved guests. He gestures to the doors. I am Patty and I will be your server today. Luffy starts jumping up and down again. This is it. 1TS counting how many people he has. Oil, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Gonzo, Tobio, Johnny, Yosaku. Me, 9 please. Patty gurns a too-wide smile. This way please, and leads them inside. The interior was far more stylish than the exterior, with smooth cream colors and elegant designs. The place really looks like a 5-star restaurant. However, the brick center to the upper floor and nearby cooking stations gave off the feeling of a personal, homey atmosphere. Like everyone working there wasn't there for a paycheck but for a purpose. It gave life to the restaurant, one that few places could ever capture. He gestures to a table for 10 as they take their respective seats. Before Patty could even ask for their drinks, Luffy raises a hand. I would like to speak to the head chef here. Patty stops. Huh. His brow furrows. Why should he bother with a bra? I mean such great customers like yourselves. Luffy meets his smile, tooth for tooth. I have a cook of my own he could hire and would like his approval. The rest of the crew watches in utter shock, not at Luffy being such a pushy brat but at the way he was speaking. He was like a completely different person. Patty's eyes turn to Gonzo immediately. He knows a fellow cook when he sees one. He sighs, having an inner battle with himself. Very well. He will be seeing you shortly. After getting their drink order he left. What do you think you are doing? Oil hisses. They knew this was the idea, but what angle is Luffy getting at? Luffy waves them off. Trust me. Doubt. Brat. Luffy turns to see an older gentleman behind him with an equally displeased Patty on his right side. You have something to say? He looks to be a stern man with a beautiful mustache, rivaling that only of the great Whitebeard himself. He had a peg leg and a hat unreasonably tall and a look clearly saying Luffy only has 5 seconds before he was going to be kicked through the window. Luffy clears his voice. Ahem. He points to Gonzo. I would like to trade out this older model with a newer one. He points to Tobio. I'll even throw in the boy as a bonus. What? Everyone but Oil shouted. They would have actually shouted this time if not for the fact they are busy banging their head against the table. Zeph just raises a brow. Sure he was going to regret even asking. Explain. Luffy took the lack of peg leg crushing his skull as a good sign. As you can see, Gonzo is at a ripping age of 64, Gonzo supplies, and his grandson at 10, Tobio yells. So an old man and a young boy make the age of. Oil sighs, 74, Luffy's jaw drops. However, I don't think that is what you are going for. Rather, if you were talking about the mean then it would be 37. Luffy claps his hands, a 37-year-old man altogether. Patty grits his teeth. That has got to be the most idiotic thing. Wait, Zeph puts a hand up stopping his employee. He takes a seat at the empty 10th seat at the table. Keep talking. Patty jumps his jaw. Head chef, Luffy smiles. Thanks, old man. Peg leg to the face. At least it only knocked Luffy out his chair and not the window. Who you calling old, you whippersnapper? Don't even bother, Gonzo sighs, being one of the people placed right next to Zeph. This eat and run has no respect for his elders. Zeph looks at him with a steady gaze. Gonzo holds his gaze back. Both stare at each other, neither backing down as the world fell silent between them. Old man fight. Old man fight. Old man fight, Luffy not so subtly whispers to himself on the floor. Zoro hits him in the back of the head. Stop that. Then suddenly both men move and hands clap in a firm but respectful handshake. I see I'm dealing with a somewhat competent chef here, Zeph sorta compliments. I can almost say the same to you, Garno almost smiles. Tobio looks between the two confused. Do they like each other? Usopp pats his head wisely. The language between men of pride is one few know and fewer can speak. We are witnessing one of those moments. Zeph takes his hand back, getting relaxed. Patty, get those drinks. Patty stumbles a bit. Yes, sir. Zeph gives an eye to Tobio. You a brat? Tobio nods. Probably. Well, at least you honest about it. He turns his attention back to Luffy. The rest of you are pirates, right? And heading for the Grand Line. In all his years being and watching pirates, he can smell their kind a mile away. Dreamers. Luffy grins. Yup. Johnny and Yosaku raise their hands. We're not going unnoticed. Luffy gestures to his crew. Once we get our final member here, we can start heading there. Zeph huffs. You brats think you know everything, don't you? He studies Luffy a bit. Maybe you won't die immediately though. Gonzo shrugs himself. He might survive a month or two. Zeph snorts. I give him a month. Usopp puts down the menu he picked up. We are right here, ya know. That's kinda how the conversation took over, with old men talking about foods and Odin while the Straw Hats scanned the menu. But Luffy couldn't sit still. He could feel his heart race a mile a minute, shaking in his seat. He had to bolt his feet to the floor to keep himself all but lunging when he sees the blonde chef. His brother in arms. He went through hell and back in the form of a little girl's delusional sweet-filled wonderland to get him back, and nothing, no robot siblings, or genetically modified army is going to stop him. Oil gently places a hand on his shoulder. Please try to calm yourself, Captain. You're making a scene. So he was. Apparently bouncing in your chair isn't good table manner, gotcha. He just couldn't wait to see. Welcome to the Bharati, a smooth and formal voice says. I will be serving you for the rest of the afternoon. Luffy's head gave a silent scream, turning it so that any normal human would have snapped it. What are you doing out here, old man? The blonde questioned the head chef. Zeph didn't look the least disturbed. It's my restaurant, my rules. Just serve their appetizers. Hey, I worked all night on this soup. He gives a dry response, cigarette in mouth, and perfect posture. The gentleman placed drinks in front of Zeph first. By the way, I'm the assistant head chef, Sanji. Fuck yeah you are. Fuck you, Vinsmoke, Sanji Blackleg. He just kept talking like he isn't the most amazing person in the room. All the waiters ran away after what happened yesterday. But don't mistake me for a waiter, and continues serving to Gonzo and Tobio. Luffy had to bolt his feet to the ground as his eyes never left Sanji's back. I take it that's him. Nami leans in silently. Luffy very reluctantly turns his eyes away. What makes you think that? He tries to play it off cool. You are staring at him like he had the secrets to the One Piece. Zoro comments quietly after getting his soup. He doesn't look too tough, he mutters the last part. Hey, neither do I. Usopp points out. Maybe he is specialized like Nami and me. No, Gonzo replies as Sanji's attention turned completely on Nami. That man is a fighter alright. But he is a chef first and foremost. He hums, good choice. Zeph raises a brow. You interested in my brat? Luffy's grin splits his face. I want the best chef in all the sea, and only Sanji can fill that spot. Zeph's face turns unreadable. Is that so? Luffy rocks in his seat as Sanji finally comes to serve him. Look, isn't that guy over there Lieutenant Full Body? He's a lieutenant of the Marines. Oh, he's so handsome and noble. Why is everyone talking about this filler pink-haired bitch? The real star of the show is. You. Full Body started making his way to the Straw Hats, date in tow, looking incredibly embarrassed about the whole thing. Excuse me, waiter. Full Body pushes Sanji to the side, away from Luffy and his chance to have soup. I have business with these pirates. Rather than be worried, every Straw Hat is looking at their supposedly newest member's reaction. Said member looks bored overall. Actually, I'm not. He leans over to Full Body's female companion. But you've certainly got good taste when it comes to your company, he says, sickling sweetly. How about it, miss? Would you care to ditch this guy and have some wine with me? Well, the woman looks actually considerate. He's a shameless flirt, Nami says not unkindly. Gross, Tobio sticks out his tongue. Hey, Full Body brings the attention back to himself. Do you know who I am? I'm a lieutenant of the Marines. Luffy rolls his eyes. I can kick your ass after dinner or whatever. I just want to get my meal first, his face longingly on Sanji's hand. Sanji nods approvingly. Perfect. You two can beat each other up after lunch then. Full Body was turning murderous. This is not a game. He yells too loudly, causing a huge scene. Now everyone was looking over, making the Straw Hat table less conscious. This is taking too long, Luffy mutters, hand form into a fist. Luffy, no, Usopp slaps his hands. Here we go again, Oil knowing that there is no escape. Full Body raises his fist, ready to smash the table into pieces. To be stopped by an open hand catching his fist midair like it was a softball. Hey! A dangerous ex-pirate who has been quiet for some time looks up. You weren't planning on breaking my tables now, were you? Luffy uncurled his fist. He almost felt bad for this sucker now, but not really. Before Full Body could throw a temper tantrum, the back of his shirt was grabbed by a hand. A rubber hand stretched over to the back of Full Boy's fancy suit. Huh? Only to be thrown out window. There was complete silence in the restaurant. Excuse me, Luffy shouts like he didn't just throw a marine officer into the ocean. He grabs Sanji's soup only to see there was a little fly in it. Everyone follows his movements as his crew stares down in shame. Luffy picks out the little fly, later little dude, and slurps the entire bowl in one gulp, making sure not one drop falls. Sanji's soup. How long has it been since he tasted the best food in the world? He loves food, don't get him wrong, but after tasting Sanji's food, everything else just seems blander. Lifeless. No, only Sanji's food can satisfy his appetite. With one big gulp, he lets out a happy sigh. Delicious, huge grin on his face. Best soup I have ever had. And just like that, time seems to move again, everyone kinda going back to their meals. The lady being offered a free glass of wine by another chef who came out guiding her to her own table for the day. But Sanji's eyes were on table 10 with the 9 customers. He walks slowly over, cigar in hand, watching Luffy almost lazily. You like it, huh? Yup. Luffy grins happily. You made it, right? Sanji nods. Then I want everything we have today made by you, Luffy demands. Sanji lets out a puff of smoke. I'm not your servant. His eyes drift in a certain direction, however, he goes to one knee in a fluid motion, heart in his eyes. If I will be servicing this lovely goddess, then I would happily slave over a stove for you. He holds out a rose that seemingly came out of nowhere in front of Nami. She blinks at the rose but takes it all the same. Thanks. Sanji continues, sure he has seen the most beautiful creature in the entire East Blue, nay, the entire ocean blue. Oh Mother Ocean. Thank you for arranging this encounter today. Oh, my love, go on, laugh at me. I, who can't bear torture. As long as I'm with you, it matters not if I'm a pirate or a devil. My heart's ready as can be, but, this is horrible, there's such a great obstacle between us. His language was, painful to say the least. Not physical pain but somehow, pain altogether. Head chef dropkick. Sanji gets a peg leg to the head. Stop flirting with the customers. And you. Dropkick. While Luffy is sent flying out of his chair by a peg leg to the ribs. You better be paying for that window. Stupid, old man. Sanji picks himself up easily as well, not at all affected by the kick. Luffy picks himself up. Come on. I saved your table that should totally cover it. Zephs kicks him not so lightly in the head with the peg leg again. You don't get to make the choices here. He gives a leveled look to Sanji. Speaking of obstacles, Sanji. Sanji finally let his eyes lay on his old man. You got something to say, old fart? What do you want? Zeph points to Gonzo, looking at your replacement, making Gonzo almost spit out his water. Why don't you just run off and be a pirate just like them? His voice was calm and harsh. We don't need you here anymore. Sanji grits his teeth ready for a comeback but interrupted by the door slamming open. You bastard, Full Body growls, stomping his way to both Luffy and Sanji. Do you have any idea WHO you are dealing with? Sanji's face was unreadable, looking just as done with this guy as Luffy was. Sir, you are disturbing our guests. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. His voice is calm but anyone with half a brain would know the undertone of anger. If you are not here to eat, then you are not welcomed. Full Body did not have that kind of brain capacity as it would seem. Should you have such an arrogant tone towards your customers? I'm the customer. A customer who paid you money? He looks like he is getting ready for a fight. His lady companion had enough standing up from her table. Stop it, Full Body. Shut up. He spat at her. She flinches at his harsh tone. Full Body. Oh, Luffy sings. He's gonna get it. Sanji puts his cigarette to his mouth, face unusually calm. Can money fill your stomach? He simply asks. The question caught him off guard. What? He was expecting fear. He should be feared and respected. Sanji gave neither. I said, can money fill your stomach? The other chefs at the back of the restaurant start seeing the commotion. No, we have to stop him. Someone grabs Sanji. Zeph raises a hand. Stop. The chefs look uncertain but listen. Let's see where this goes. Sanji cracks his neck, still refusing. All mercy leaving his one showing eye. How unfortunate. It happened within a flash. One moment Full Body was standing up. The next he was on the floor bleeding. He's fast, Zoro mutters. Luffy grins. Dinner and a show, as Sanji lifts the bleeding man up with one hand. The woman was terrified at his state, full body. Patty opens the door just at the right time with a large grin on his face. Service, service and more service. Custo. He eyes land on the horror scene in front of him. A customer. You're at it again, Sanji. His large brow turned downwards in anger. What are you doing to our customer? Isn't that a marine lieutenant? Sanji scoffs, eyes not leaving the marine. Are you blind, you crappy cook? This guy was harassing the actual customers. I'm just taking out the trash. Luffy almost spits out his drink at that. How that hell dares call his chef crappy, besides Zoro. But Zeph is already there, one hand stopping Patty. Let him be, they'll put a tab on the window he broke. Patty blinks at the information. Okay, carry on then. He goes about his business like he didn't see anything important. Full body climbs back from the floor. What kind of restaurant is this? Do you treat all your customers this way? How does it even stay in business? Anger takes over. He really should start listening to his self-preservation instincts more and read the fucking atmosphere. I'll destroy it. I'll destroy your precious little restaurant. I'll contact my superiors right now. Luffy sips his water. Oh, bad idea, Luffy, I am going to smack you myself. Oil hisses. They just want to get this guy and go. Zeph glares at the man similar to how Sanji was looking at him. You're no customer here, get the hell out, and kicks the bastard right to the floor. Full body laid on the floor debating whether to get up again and finally realized he had royally fucked up. What kind of hellhole restaurant is this? Nami turns to Luffy, drink in hand. Won't he get in trouble for that? Customer or not, that is still a marine. It's not that the show but. Luffy smiles his troublemaking smile. You think they care? This place is run like a pirate ship. He turns back to Sanji. In other words, fighting marines is a daily lifestyle. Sanji turns to the full boy's female ex-companion. Forgive us for the trouble, but really you can do so much better. Ah, I think I'll have the calamari, Zoro thinks out loud. You sure? Usopp leans over to his menu, a bit pricey. Luffy waves his hand, totally worth it. Where's the dessert menu? Tobio looks over. Before any ordering could be done, however, there was a smash at the door. Lieutenant, Lieutenant Full Body. We've got a problem. A bloody marine held the doors open. Luffy's stomach growls, we are never going to order, are we? The panicked underling continues his panic. The pirate Don Krieg's man has escaped. Full Body actually was competent enough to pull himself together. What? We thought he could have given us a lead on Don Krieg. We've already lost 7 of our men. This guy does realize there are civilians around just listening to this. Great way to keep calm. That's ridiculous. Full Body stupidly replies. When we got him 3 days ago, he was about to starve to death. And we haven't fed him yet, have we? Whispers start to spread already. The dreaded Don Krieg pirates? Isn't he supposedly the most powerful pirate of the East Blue? Wow, really? What the hell, Buggy? You let this bozo take over the East Blue? Luffy knows he's laying low or whatever, but man, this needs to be a major change. Also, is Arlong just not a thing? What happened to take over the East Blue, you lazy bum? I'm really sore. Bang. How rude. A gunshot interrupted the marine's apology. The seaman collapsed to the floor as some woman screamed in the restaurant. Big Mouth looks on neutrally. Another customer has arrived. He's going to have to get someone to clean up that mess. Zeph glares as well. He'd better not cause any more trouble in my restaurant. Oil puts down their menu, so he is finally here. They look on with interest. Silence covers the entire restaurant as the customers slowly start to leave their seats on the back of the ship. The man with brown hair and darker skin walked calmly to the middle tables. He had white pants, seemingly out of place for his line of work, green shit and a gray jacket with dragon decorations. He had a sweatband covering his eyes in the shows and 2 earrings on each ear, giving him a punk vibe of, don't mess with me. He sat with one leg on the table, gun in hand. Bring me some food. This is a restaurant, isn't it? His voice was rough and he was sweating from such effort as talking. But seemed more like a wounded animal. The closer you get, the more dangerous it is. Welcome, mere bastard. Patty puts the customer service act on thick, not giving 2 shits if he was dangerous or not. Oh, sure, you get service before we do, Luffy complains loudly. Now is not the time. Usopp smacks his head. That guy. Tobio looks back to the marine. Is he? Oil did not hesitate to pat Tobio on the head. He's alive. Seeing the man barely breathing on the floor, bleeding out but alive. Sanji sees the kid's discomfort, coolly answering the unasked question. It happens all the time here, kid. Characters like him are not that uncommon. He points to the dangerous individual. I'll only say it once more, so listen up. Mr. Dangerous speaks slowly. Bring me some food. The rest of the customers watched with morbid interest. He's gonna kill that cook. Patty, while still being very polite, asks, I'm sorry, sir, but we'll be expecting you to pay for a meal here? Do you have enough money? Dead on feet raises the gun to Patty's forehead. Do you accept lead? Patty doesn't even blink, looking more annoyed than anything. So I take it that you don't have any money, and without hesitation grounds the man and his chair into the floor with a double smash with his hands. Full Body's jaw dropped. What? Zeph was just pissed. Patty, you broke one of my chairs. Patty huffs knowing that is coming out of his paycheck. If you can't pay up, you can't eat. The guy grunts on the floor, trying to get up. The customers cheer, way to go, Mr. Cook. That pirate's nothing. Even the chefs cheered their fellow mate on. Take him out, Patty. There was a loud rumbling coming from the pirate on the floor. Patty took notice. Oh, your stomach's growling there, you filthy pirate. The guy just smiles. That was a fart, you bastard. Hurry and get me something to eat. Patty kicks him while he was down. You're no customer, so get the hell out of here. Kinda hard to threaten on the floor like that. Usopp mutters at the sight. Luffy watches, but his focus was more on another man who quietly left the room. Full body takes the distraction to get going. I can't take it anymore. I don't want anything to do with this kind of restaurant. I'll never come here again. Once Patty is done beating the man, he gives a little curtsy to the crowd, who gives a standing applause. Alright, everybody, please, continue with your meal. He picks the pirate up with one hand and throws him out a side door. Please get lost. And everything went back to normal. Customers went back to their seats and conversation flowed too easily again. Well, I guess we can order now. Where did he go? Zoro started to say, only to see their captain missing. Important stuff, Oil explains, trying to get another chef's attention to order. Don't worry, I know what he wants. Said important stuff included Luffy sneaking to the roof of the fish restaurant, hearing a certain pirate curse. Damn him, how dare he, I wouldn't normally let anyone get away with that crap. The man would have continued to curse if not for a plate of fried rice being placed right in front of him. Hey, you're starving, aren't you? The pirate dude grits his teeth at the smell but looks away from the tempting meal. Shut up, his stomach growled again in protest. I'm not the least bit hungry. The blonde smoothly takes a seat right there, lighting a cigar. Eat it. Shut up, go away. This is worse. His stomach growled again, trying to protest some common sense in the man. I won't accept charity. Take it away. The chef rolls his eyes at the display. Don't be so tough, just eat it already. He lets out a smoke of air. To me, any hungry person's a customer. The pirate licks his lips. I can't pay for it. Sanji hums, twisting the cancer stick in his mouth. It's amazing how beautiful and cruel the ocean can be. It's awful to not have any food or water. Just awful. I understand starving people more than anyone. His voice was cool, but it was laced with something not entirely recognizable. I don't care if you want to die with dignity. But if you eat up, you'd be able to look forward to a new tomorrow, won't you? The pirate looks at the meal, then at the chef and the meal again. He closes his eyes and surges forward, grabbing the food desperately, eating like the starving man he was. A few bites in, he starts to shake, back away from Sanji. This is so delicious. I've never had such delicious food in my entire life. There were warm tears coming down his face, but Sanji wasn't looking at him. If no one saw them, then they were not really there, right? It's too delicious. I thought I was gonna die. I thought I was a goner. Sanji gives a smile, not a flirtatious grin, not a cocky smirk, not a smug twitch. No, a genuine smile from a cook seeing someone enjoying his meal. You like it, EH? Luffy grins, thinking this was a perfect time to ruin the moment. Hey, aren't you lucky? You aren't even a customer and you got served first. Both men look up to see the third on top of the roof. Shishi. Good, he got their attention. Time to sink them in. Hey, Sanji, join my crew. Sanji watches as the excitable teen jumps down from the roof and be perfectly fine. You're a pirate? Luffy gives his best grin. Yup, Sanji hums. Should have guessed from the coat. He looks a little thoughtful. Anyway, owe anything to this place. The head chef here was once a chef on a notorious pirate ship. Luffy grins. Right, red leg or something, right? Sanji wipes his head at him. You know, Luffy shrugs. Yeah, it hasn't been that long, only like 10 years, right? Sanji actually smirks a bit at that. Yeah, I shouldn't be surprised. A lot of the cooks here work out of admiration of that geezer. For that old fart, this restaurant is worth more than any treasure. And those cooks who came after his fame were once fierce pirates. Luffy grins at the fondness in his voice, taking a seat next to his future cook. Not a quiet moment in this place, EH? Sanji lets out another cloud of smoke. Yeah, this place never seems to have a dull moment. It's not bad or anything. I'm used to it. He laughs. Recently, most of the people only come to watch the cooks and pirates brawl. But thanks to that, it scares away all of the part-time waiters. Luffy recalls his time as a waiter here. Oh, that explains it. So you're going to join us? Sanji looks at him calmly. I refuse. I have my reasons why I must remain here. Luffy nods understandingly. I understand and respect your decision. And also I refuse your refusal. Wha what? Sanji was a little lost. That doesn't make any scene. Hey, Luffy looking a little offended. I took the effort to respect your decision. You need to respect mine in not accepting your decision. If Sanji was going to say no to him, then it has to be his own choice, not because he thinks he owed the old man a favor. Sanji felt a sweat drop. That, he was getting pissed. You can't respect someone's decision and not accept it. Yeah, you can. That's why they're two different words. You'd better watch out or I'll gut you like a fish, you straw hat bastard. Luffy just laughs at Sanji's little insult, making Sanji even more pissed. I would like to see you try. Sorry to interrupt, but what is it? Sanji snaps, unfairly taking his annoyance out on the man he just saved. He didn't seem to take it personally, speaking casually. I'm part of the Don Krieg's pirates crew. The name's Jin, he gestures to Luffy. So, you're a pirate too. What's your goal? Luffy grins. I'm going to become the Pirate King. I'm headed for the Grand Line. Jin starts to sweat at the claim but kept his voice calm. You're still looking for a cook. Your crew must be quite small. Luffy tips his hat. Yeah. But we got the essentials and more waiting for us on the other side. He flips it over. Makes it easier to cross Reverse Mountain with a small crew anyway. We've got 6, counting him. Why the hell are you counting me in? Sanji snaps. Jin tries to hide the surprise in his face at the claim. You have been to the Grand Line already? Sanji's anger disappears at that, looking at Luffy seriously now. Luffy gives a cheeky grin. Of course, spent half my life there, or something like that. He lost count after. Everything stopped really mattering, but now I need a crew to head in. Can't be Pirate King unless I have the best crew behind me. He looks at Sanji, and that includes the best cook in all the seas. Sanji grumbles a bit, mad about being seen as part of his crew but utterly flattered for being seen as the best even in the Grand Line. Which only makes him madder that he was flattered. Jin starts to shake more at the news. So you know, he seems at a loss of words. You know about the Grand Line. Luffy swings his legs. I know a few things. She is always filled with surprises. He gives low chuckles, but I know for a fact that the first half is paradise compared to the second half. Of course it took his crew 2 years to get ready for that second half, and the first half was no joke, but still they made through it alive. Jin pales at that, putting his head in his hands. You've got to be kidding me. Luffy felt his heart bleed for the guy. Really, he seemed like a cool dude just trying to be the best pirate he can be. Too bad he got stuck with Mr. I think I am invincible, only to hold him back. With that mindset, Krieg wouldn't have survived a month, no, a week. Sanji raises a brow, trying not to show his own concern. Are you really one of the dreaded Krieg's men? You're acting like a scaredy cat. Luffy rolls his eyes. Please, Krieg would hire pigs if they learned how to kiss ass. Jin looks like someone slapped him with a fish. What did you say? Hey, don't get me wrong. Luffy holds his hands calmly. You can follow whoever you want. But, come on. He's got what? A big fleet. Okay, fair. But let me ask you this. Why do you follow him? Jin stutters at being cut off. He's strong. Luffy raises a single brow far too smugly. Oh. And what if someone stronger came around? Then would you follow them? No, Jin snaps. My loyalty lies with Krieg and only Krieg. And what about his loyalty? Luffy counters. Is he as dedicated to his men as his men are to him? Are you sure he won't leave you if you ever show signs of weakness? He won't, Jin said a little too late. Would you bet your life on it? Luffy looks him dead in the eye. Jin looked away, not able to match the stare. Luffy sighs, his eyes turning softer but no less intense. You're a pirate. Not a slave. Pirates are supposed to be free. If you're not free, then what's the point of blind loyalty? There was silence after that. Sanji sitting awkwardly between two pirates, one sounding much older than he looks and the other who seemed to have an existential crisis. So Sanji forcefully butts in. You need a ship, right Jin? Jin nods thankfully for the distinction. Yeah, I can't stay here. Sanji tilts his head. Do you need a ship? I have a dinghy you can use. Jin smiles. I thank you Sanji, but I have a dinghy of my own. The marine ship was practically sinking when I left, so I was able to snag a dinghy. Luffy innocently whistles at the news as the dinghy is set and Tummy's full Jin waves from his new boat. Later then. Yeah, more like see you soon. Think about what I said, Luffy offers. Jin almost looks like he isn't going to say anything. Anyone could have missed the little nod sent their way if Luffy wasn't watching. His attention turns to his savior, Sanji. Thank you very much. You saved my life. The fried rice was the best. He gives a big-ass grin, looking more human than he has this entire time. Can I come again? Sanji returns the smile. Anytime. Hey there, Straw Hat. Your order is here, a voice snaps from the balcony from above. Luffy waves. Hey, old man. Zeph stares at the scene in front of him. No longer dying pirate now on a dinghy, looking not healthy but not dying. Empty plate and fort on deck. He thinks he can figure out what happened here. Sanji leans against the rail. Get going, Jin. Jin fiddles with his sweatband. I'm sorry. You're gonna get in trouble for letting me eat for free. He sounded genuinely guilty. Splash. Come again. Sanji with hands open as he just dropped a dish into the sea. How can I get in trouble if there's no proof? Jin said nothing, just watching in shock. He is a proud man. A man who hates getting charity, but he bows lowly on the boat, head reaching the floor in silent thanks. Sanji smiles, calling out, don't get caught again, Jin. Jin pulls himself up, guiding his boat. Thank you, Sanji, silently to himself. I won't forget this, Sanji. Zeph sighs, getting far too old for this. Oi, brats, get back to work. I don't work here, then go eat your damn food. Ooh, food. Luffy jumps from his spot, heading off like a bolt. Food. Luffy starts gobbling up everything in sight, almost at a horrible inhuman pace, so fast that it caused great distress to the rest of the customers around him. "So good," he cried out. "Hey, slow down," Sanji snips, "you're scaring all the customs away." "Like you don't," Zeph said. Sanji just huffs. "Ain't I the assistant head chef here? What's your crap about not needing me no more?" Now that the commotion has died down, he ECT at hand. "You always fight with our customers," Zeph starts to list off. "You flirt with any beautiful woman in sight. And you make lousy food. You're as worthless to me as the chum after brunch, that's what I mean." Sanji takes a step towards the old man. "What the?" Zeph keeps going. "The other cooks don't like you anyway. Why don't you just become a pirate or whatever you please? Why don't you just get the hell out of here?" "What's this crap?" Sanji grabs Zeph by the collar. "Okay, let's just have another scene in front of the customers. That's this place's specialty after all. I didn't do shit and now you're blowing your head off, old fart. I don't care about the rest of your excuses, but I'll never allow my cooking to be insulted. I don't care what the hell you're gonna say, I'm gonna stay right here as a chef. If you don't like it, it's your problem." Before any Sanji flying could have happened, Oil stands up. "Sanji, don't speak to your father that way." This caught both males' attention. Sanji mid-yell, and Zeph mid-punch. "He's not my," Sanji started. "Don't you give me that," they fluently interrupt. "I know a father and son when I see them." Though Sanji's hair was a lighter blonde and his eyes are more a sea blue and sky like Zeph, the way you act is clearly paternal. Sanji says nothing in favor of stuffing his head in his hands to cover his shame while Zeph just looks away trying to be coy. They had to admit that Zeph's plan to push Sanji away through emotional damage was a viable tactic, however Sanji's stubbornness must be taken into account for. It would have been wiser if perhaps a heart-to-heart discussion took place, but knowing both men that were less feasible. Zeph then remembers he needed to punch his son. "How dare you grab the collar of the head chef?" Straw Hats and guests seem to have had the skills of ninjas as they quickly grab every plate on their table, making sure none of the food has gone to waste. "You stupid eggplant," Zeph huffs. Despite breaking the table, Sanji gets up completely unharmed. More like he was pushed than actually flung over a table. Damn it. He gets up. "Are you kiddin'? No matter how hard you may try, I'm gonna stay right here as a chef, till the day you go to hell." Zeph starts walking away. "I won't die. I'll live another 100 years. Sanji rolls his eyes. "What a stubborn old man." Luffy grins, going back to his food. "Isn't it great that he gave you his blessing? Now you can come with us." "Hell no. Heavens yes." Sanji pulls himself together, taking another table. "Please pardon me for what has happened." He turns to Nami. "As an apology, I give you a fruit, Macedonia, my princess." Nami claps her hands together. "Why, thank you. You're so kind," she adds sweetly. "It's nothing." Sanji plays it off despite being utterly flattered. "What about us?" Usopp claps his hands on the new table. "This is gender discrimination." Sanji's flirty smile turns straight into an annoyed sneer. "I brought you some tea, isn't that enough? You should thank me, long nose." Usopp met him eye for eye. "Huh? Picking a fight? I won't be easy on you. Get him, Zoro." Zoro drinks his tea. "Do it yourself." Johnny and Yosaku drink at the same time. The calmness of green tea. One must learn how to make tea to truly appreciate it. Gonzo puts down his cup. "You guys are idiots too, aren't you?" Usopp points to the table. "You haven't even cleared the plates away." "You still haven't finished your mushrooms," Sanji points out. "I left them on purpose because I hate mushrooms." Usopp got up in Sanji's face. "Nose to nose. I have poisoned by one when I was a kid." Sanji doesn't back down, despite nose in his face. "Well, this one ain't poisoned, so eat up, long nose." Oil sighs. "Here." They take the plate from Usopp. "I like mushrooms." They start eating them. "Can we have fruit for the table, please? No need to make a fuss, just order it." Sanji turns to Oil, stopping, and just stares. He seemed to be thinking. Now Sanji likes to pride himself with being able to know a beautiful woman from 3 miles away. That's what he was trained to do. Usually, he could get a read off a person, no problem. It came with years of practice on serving customers and having to be polite to even the worst ones. And right now he sees one, but he doesn't feel one. He could tell if a man has long hair or if a woman just happens to be more muscular than normal, but this one, he can't get anything. Just a neutral vibe. It would be so easy to just say this is a girl, but his instincts are never wrong. This isn't. He doesn't know. Not a boy, that's for sure. It has to be a girl. But where are his hearts and twirly legs? "I am Oil, a pleasure to meet you," and they mean it. They have done extensive research about Sanji Blackleg, ex-Vinsmoke and world-renowned chef. He has a kind heart but gives a special type attention to females. He treats the men of the crew quite different. A little cruel, but there was respect and a level of playfulness between them. He looks at them like a person rather than an object of affection. Yes, he looks for something to say. Still no hard eyes. "I am Sanji. Pleasure." Could he be wrong? Maybe just a girly boy? But the kid doesn't feel like a boy either. Oil feels good about the interaction so far. Perhaps this will be a nice interaction. If only Luffy couldn't read what he is thinking, she's a girl. Sanji went into swave mode immediately. I knew that. He barks, attention now on oil. My dear, forgive me for my rudeness, I was so distracted by these heathens my mind must have short-circuited. He had to keep the flirting light no matter how forced it felt. How old is this kid anyway? Never mind. Oil slowly turns to him. Did you mistake me for something else? Sanji flinches, caught in the act. Well, and this all my fault obviously. It's been a long day after all and I just haven't slept in 3 days thanks to a certain brat. Glare at Luffy, but for a second there, you didn't feel like a girl. Sanji stutters out, in between his rambles. But of course that is no fault of yours. I simple must be out of my mind to not see such an angel before me. Oil slowly goes back to their food. Just, fruit please, they repeat. Sanji doesn't let his smile drop but he straightens up, sweat dropping a bit, of course. Thank you. Oil goes back to their mushrooms. That felt uncomfortable. Didn't feel like a girl. What does a girl feel like? They never thought much of their looks or gender in general, but they didn't know you can feel a gender. How does they feel being mistaken for not a girl? It is strange but not unpleasant. But actually being called a girl, what is this feeling? Nami munches on her delicious dessert. Please, don't fight over me. Sanji immediately loosens up. Very well, ma'am, I'll stop. Who's fighting over you? Usopp snaps. I want dessert too, Tobio shouts. Sanji sighs. Yeah, he may be a dude but kids. He could have a bit of leeway. Oh, thank you, Sanji. Nami leans in close to Sanji before he could go, gently cupping his face. The food here's great, but it's a bit expensive for me. He was gone, of course. I won't make you pay. There were hearts in his eyes. Nami gave him a hug. Thank you. Sanji could have died right there, but he turns to the males. You guys have to pay though. Usopp mutters. I already saw that coming. Luffy giggles. This is going to be great. Ooh. What do you mean having one meal a day isn't enough? Sanji had a strained smile on his face. He really didn't want to lose his temper in the fact this woman, and all women are good, has been eating only 2 meals a day when they remembers to eat. You're not going to get all your nutrients that way if you want to stay healthy. I eat when I am hungry. Oil folds their arms. That seems logical enough. Sanji grinds on his cigar butt. In your head but your body isn't energized enough to handle daily activities if you don't system. Do you understand? Illogical. They do understand one thing though. It would seem that when it comes to food Sanji finally puts his foot down, even to females, they respect that. Sanji burns the rest of his cigarette, trying his damnedest not to snap at a lady, because you are never supposed to snap at women. Also I want you to stop seeing me as a girl. He almost chokes on his cigar. Excuse me? You are pardoned, Oil answers. No, about the other thing? Sanji backtracks. You want me to stop seeing you as a girl? Oil nods. Yes. Sanji felt a headache coming on, like, a boy? Oil tilts her head. No, that will not work either. Rather try a person. A person, Sanji repeats dumbly. Yes, I have given much thought to your accusation the other day. Sanji starts to apologize as Oil steamrolls over him, and as it takes I have feelings over this implication. As annoying as it is, these feeling must be address. The child puts a finger to their mouth. In fact, I shall have the whole crew change their address to me to make this easier on you. They turns to the crew consisting on Luffy, Zoro, and Usopp. From now on I am neither boy or girl and you shall refer to me as such. Zoro waves his hand, not even bothering to look over. Whatever. Luffy tries to balance a fork on his nose. Cool. Usopp lifts a brow. So they, them, right? Oil paused before nodding again. Yes, that feels right. They hadn't felt wrong exactly being she, her before, but when it started coming into question, it felt not right, and they know what to classify as uncomfortable or not now. Before Sanji could question anything, Usopp butts in. How much longer do we have to be here? It's been 4 days already. Usopp was right. They have been spending far too much time on the Barati for Oil's liking. They sip their tea gently. I'm not sure. They hate that. In Luffy's contract, he should have arrived 2 days ago and everything, but so far it has been 4 days and still no sign of Krieg. I would like to say we came here early, but with the detours we took I thought the chances here unlikely. Luffy shrugs. Oh well, he was not too worried about the news. He has been having a blast following Sanji around and helping the chefs with their chores like washing dishes and taste testing food. None of the chefs thought it was near as fun as Luffy did. Hey, chore boy, Sanji yells, trying to find something to distract himself with. Get the dishes at table 3 would ya? Yes, sir. A small but determined little waiter comes out. Tobio had been taking to the restaurant like a fish to water. He enjoyed the tough atmosphere among the pirate cooks, being the only one brave enough to gather the plates, and small enough to escape any clobbering. Anything else? Sanji looks down. I think we good for now. He lets a small smile slip. He was on edge about the kid at first. He was a brat, but he was a good kid. Didn't sit and cry when things got tough. He just yelled right back. He likes the little spitfire. Just don't let the old geezer get to you. I got my own old geezer to worry about, Tobio said proudly. He might not have been a pirate, but he is damn strong. I heard that, brat. Gonzo shouts from the kitchen. He too had been taken in by the chefs like a long-lost brother. Despite being an older man and having no criminal record, he took to the ex-pirate chefs with a strong and prideful attitude. He was hardworking and didn't take shit from anyone. What more could a chef need? A glass breaks. It's Don Krieg's pirate ship. Oil lets out a sigh of relief, their body forcing itself to calm down. Oh, thank Jupiter. How is that a good thing? Usopp yells. Oil calmly turns to him. What do you think we have been waiting for? Usopp jaws drops. We have been waiting to be attacked by pirates? Luffy grins. Duh. What else are we supposed to do? Go to them? How about not going to them at all? Usopp was fighting a losing battle. Illogical, Oil replies. Besides, we have already fought his brother? You what? We have? Luffy tilts his head. I don't remember that. Ganzak, Oil reminds. The crabman. Turned out to be Don Krieg's brother. Really? Zoro blinks. Damn, must have forgotten that. How do you just forget that? Usopp yells. That is kinda a big deal. The customers were sweating at the sight. The flag that turns brave men into chickens. That flag is no doubt about it. It's the king of East Blue. It's Don Krieg. Why? What's Krieg doing here? One cook with red glasses started yelling. Look well, Patty. They're really here. You'll help us drive him away, now won't you? Patty lost all confidence he had 3 days ago. See Carne, couldn't you be mistaken? He's the leader of a 5,000 pirate ship fleet. Why is he coming all this way to avenge a single man? Gonzo looks out the window. There's no mistake, he's really here. Tobio looks on in amazement. That's what I call a ship. Luffy smiles, elbowing Sanji. You think that Jin guy's here to pay you back? Sanji sighs. I doubt it. But it's strange. Luffy tilts his head at the ship. It was impressive. Was being the key word here. It is about as big as Brook's old ship for the Rumbar pirates. Has 3 masts and a large exterior. There's a cougar in the front with a large open mouth. But it was utterly wrecked. Holes litter the thing like spots on a dog. There are tears all over the mast like it is a rag, and overall just looks like his ship's pretty much had it. Sanji nods. It doesn't look like it was attacked by a gunboat or anything. But it doesn't look like any human could have done that either. A tornado maybe? Luffy smirks. Sanji, you've seen some crazy stuff in your life. His voice still being light despite the heavy implications. I think you know humans are capable of crazy things. Luffy didn't ask about his crew's past, not because it wasn't important but because it didn't matter to him. Whether from rags or riches, they were his crew and he didn't need to know a damn thing about their past to know that he loved them. If they wanted to tell their past he would listen, but he would never force it out of them. Their past was a part of them and he loved knowing more about his crew every day, but their past never defines them. They are so much more, they are everything. Sanji gazes at him coolly, his stance completely at ease, but there was just a hint of steel in those blue eyes. Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff happens on the Barati. Luffy smiles, not daring to push it. Speaking of which, I have some business before he comes on board. He starts making his way to the front door. Usopp starts to shake. Luffy, don't tell me you're going to fight them all? Zoro manly pouts. Yeah, leave some for the rest of us. That's not what I'm worried about. Luffy laughs, but it was somewhat forced. He really does not like where this is going. I'm just going to check on Nami and the guys. He turns back to the door. I'll be right back. Oil gets up. I'll come too. Luffy stops. You sure? He wasn't going to stop them. Oil swallows a bit. Yes. I want to check on them as well. Luffy nods. Okay. He turns to his crew. We'll be right back. And with a swing of the door, both Luffy and Oil make their way to the Mary, completely ignoring the giant barge making its way closer to the Barati with each passing second. On the Mary, Johnny and Yosaku are shaking in their boots at the sight of such a large barge in the horizon. Nami meanwhile doesn't look the least bit affected, looking more lost in thought than worried about the upcoming confrontation. Luffy bro, OYAL bro. Johnny yells, seeing the captain of the ship. We got to get the hell out of here. That flag, he points to the ship, is Don Krieg. Luffy smiles. I know. What do you mean you know? Yosaku yells. Nami even breaks out of her thoughts to look with little interest. We have been waiting for him. Luffy spread out his arms. Zoro and Usopp or Woe should join them while it is still safe. Johnny and Yosaku look like their souls left their bodies a little. We should have just stayed on the rock. At least Scurvy would have finished off without malice. Stop being overdramatic. Oil lightly guides them, almost daring to touch them. Sit with Zoro and get some appetizers. Both bounty hunters hung their head in dejection and deboarded the ship onto the Barati. With them gone, Luffy attention turned fully to a silent Nami. She gave her signature cute smile. Don't worry, Captain. She gives a thumbs up. Let me just secure out treasure and I'll meet you inside. Luffy frowns. Nami. Don't do that, he says quietly. Nami kept the act up, forcing confusion on her face. What do you mean? Before anything, Oil quickly says, feeling pride and shame for interrupting Nami. This is a private conversation, but they're shaking a bit. Move, you coward. They take a few shaking steps to Nami, trying to look natural. Nami. Should they just say it? Should they ask first? No, that would be weird, right? Or rather, this whole thing was weird. This whole thing was a mistake. Embarrassing considering that they will see Nami in a few days. A few hours arguably. They shouldn't have come. This is too much, too dramatic. But they are here now, might as get it over with. They lean forward to a confused Nami and hug her. Nami was not expecting that. From the way Oil was shaking, she thought the child was going to hit her or something. But that was silly, as she slowly hugs the shaking child back. Oil tries and fails. They just hug Nami harder. Nami was starting to lose her cool a bit. Was Oil saying, goodbye? Did they know? Nami wouldn't be surprised if they did. Despite her initial awkwardness, Oil was pretty smart on small cues. Does that mean Luffy knows? Are they here to stop her? Oil suddenly lets go and steps back, excuse me, and take their own leave, leaving the captain and his navigator. I can beat them, you know, Luffy states simply. Nami blinks at him, not understanding, the ones who hurt you. Nami stiffens, her face turning unreadable. He saw right through her. Despite barriers and facades, he was able to read her like a damn book. Hell, maybe even better considered he had trouble reading. She hated every minute of it. Luffy tries not to let this upset him. Of course, she is guarded, he hasn't earned her trust yet. Nami closed her eyes. Luffy. What on earth could she say? You caught me. I'm abandoning you all for the sake of money. It's not what you think. I swear I'm staying. None of that was going to get past him. He knows. If he knows why she is leaving them, he probably knows how much it hurts to leave. This connection. She hasn't felt this kind of feeling since her mother, since her sister, since she was home, when she had a home. She didn't want to leave. Nami, please. He looks at her with his own pleading eyes, black but unfairly deep and emotionally. I can help. We all can help you. He sounds so sincere, if you just let us. Nami felt his whole body start to shiver at the thought. I can't. Her voice broke a little. This doesn't concern you. I can't let my problems slow you down. He was going to be the pirate king. It was a stupid dream, but damn if Nami didn't see it. She can't let other people be affected by some thief who can't solve her own problems. Luffy walks slowly up to her. Nami looks right at him, eyes refusing to back down, but it was like a mouse facing a lion. What did she expect? That he would just let her take the going merry and run? He may be a kind fool, but no one is that. Ridiculous. As he got closer, she expected many things. Anger, betray, sadness. What she did not expect was a hug. She was pulled in tight and rubbery arms that should not have made her feel as safe as they did. It's okay. He says slowly, you are free here. If you want to go, I won't stop you. He pulls away just to look at her, but know this. We are just as free to follow you to the gates of hell itself and back. And he will be following you. Before a shocked Nami could say anything, he turns away. If you want to leave, you should do it now before that barge gets any closer. He gives one last look, eyes as firm as law. If you ever need my help, our help, just say the word and we will be there. With those last words, Luffy jumps off his ship and starts heading back to the Bharati, Mahawk. Dear Oil, hey, this is your local bushman. I would hope. You only know one after all. And I have reached the Gory. The card turned kinda letter thing, so we are writing to you now. First things first, we left a little later than we thought. There was a little trouble before we left. A visitor come to our island. His name is Buggy and he is an absolute laugh. I gave him that ship you gave me, as Gory seems to have covered all of our building materials. I will let you know of any further research in the future. We made it safe. I tried to look for that farmer guy you say you saw, but there doesn't seem to be anyone living here. But you were right about the animals here. They are insane. They ain't like my animals, that's for sure. But they are just as smart, even smarter. The Pengu pirates already scouting for other recruits. Gory made the ship, so I think we are going. I haven't been this hyped in years. Finally back to the pirate life with my most trusted friends. Oil, this is Gory Illa. It was the utmost pleasure to speak with you, and as we created the contract, I noticed that you said that you were willing to fund my plans. I do not mean to rush, but I hope to goodness you plan to act on that soon. Giant robots don't make themselves, you know. Ho ho ho. Your bushman, Gaiman, and your gorilla, Gory, ooh. Luffy smiles, taking a seat back in the restaurant. Here he comes, sensing two presences boarding the ship. The doors are not slammed open. There isn't any grand, dramatic entrance as the two entered. No, all that came was the pathetic sight of a pathetic man. Please, the large man rasped, leaning heavily on his subordinate who deserves better. Can you give me water and something to eat, please? If it's money, I've got it. The guy was tall, far taller than his subordinate, with purple hair and sideburns. He was pale and sweating, the picture of a suffering man. But it was his eyes that gave him away. Eyes that were cold, but they were not out, just waiting, as much as you ask. I don't know how long it's been since I've last eaten. He held his arms out. Please, give me water and something to eat. Patty raised an eyebrow, looking unimpressed. What's wrong with him? He doesn't look very dreadful to me, he said. Despite pissing his pants 3 minutes ago, is this guy really the most dreadful pirate, Don Krieg? Sanji lets out the comment, he looks hungry. Luffy lets a small smile slip at Sanji's concern. Of course, that would be the first thing he would notice. What a great cook he has. The big bad guy's eyes rolled to the back of his head and he fell to the floor. Jin got down, panicking at the sight of his unconscious captain. Sea Captain, Don Krieg. He turned to the restaurant in distress. Please help my captain. He's starving to death. He hasn't eaten for days. If he doesn't get food soon, he'll die. He was begging. A man who was too proud to take charity was begging for help for the sake of his captain. But his pleas fell on deaf ears. This is great. Patty laughed. So this is the notorious bully, Don Krieg? We've got money this time, Jin pleads, still on his knees. Aren't we customers here? Not in your life. Patty SYSD smugly. Hey, hurry up and call the Marines. The customers around them slowly started to agree and cheer. What? Jin exclaimed, surprise. He won't get another chance like this. No food for him, get him out of here. Even the chiefs started to grumble in agreement. That's right, if he gets better, there's no telling what he'll do next. He's done so many awful things. He deserves to be captured, even if he's starving. He's never done anything good in his life. He might even attack this ship if he gets better. We shouldn't even hand him a glass of water. I won't do anything. I promise I'll leave after I eat. Krieg used his last strength to reposition himself on the floor in a bowing position. So please help me. His face is completely covered but he seems so honest and sincere. Liar, Luffy sings songs, but tries to keep his voice down for Jin's sake. Usopp raises an eyebrow at him. Oh, sure, now you can tell. Jin is fucking crying at the sight of his captain on the floor. Him and his stupid loyalty. Don Krieg. Please stop. Please don't beg. How can you do such a humble act? Please stop it. Krieg continues, I promise. Please anything, even your leftovers, he started, pathetically, to call out, anything. Don, poor Jin cries. Patty isn't budging. Hey, you think I'm sympathetic? Sanji comes down the stairs, out of the way, Patty, and gracefully kicks Patty completely in the face, sending him flying a few feet back. Jin looks up in bewilderment at his savior, Sanji. He hands Jin a bottle of wine and fried rice. Take it, Jin. Let him have it. Jin takes the food. Sanji. Krieg gobbles the food himself, not even bothering with utensils, thanks. Carne was the one to step forward. Hey, Sanji, take away the food. Don't you know what kind of person he is? He points to the monster stuffing his face. He's the king of the East Blue, the sneakiest pirate of them all. It all began in prison. The guy pretended to be one of the Marines. Not a bad idea. He killed the captain of his ship and took over that ship to become a pirate. Sometimes he'd raise a Marine flag and enter a harbor. Then he'd attack the city and other docked ships. Or he'd pretend to surrender, and then make surprise attacks. He'll do anything to win. That's how he got to where he is now. Luffy inwardly scoffs at the whole thing. What a lame pirate. About as lame as Cat Guy. Seriously, what's with all these pirates and doing super lame things like being assholes? Johnny stands up next surprisingly. Cook dude is right. Don Krieg has a bounty of 17 million. He's too dangerous for my bro and me. Yeah, Yosaku agrees, hiding behind Zoro. Luffy narrows his eyes. 17 million. Is that like a lot? What was his first bounty? It has a 3 in there, right? Was it lower? Nah, he totally kicked ass as a kid, but that would make it 30 million and 30 million minus 17 million. It's a low number. Luffy, oil supplies. Just stop. You're going to hurt yourself. Luffy smiles. Read my mind. Sanji huffs. So, he's a snake, Carne shakes his head. He shouldn't be underestimated. Even now, eat and leave. How can we believe what he says? We'd be doing the world a favor if we gave this wretch up. Don Krieg suddenly stands up and, slam, Sanji. Jin screams, horrified. At the sight of a broken floor. Huh? Sanji blinks at the sight in front of him, Krieg's fist slamming on the empty floor right where he just stood. Hey, Luffy mutters. One rubber arm wrapped safely around his cook. That's not a very grateful attitude you're showing. Jin ignored the inhuman action and focused on his captain. Don Krieg? You promised that you'd never hurt these people, so I took you here. Besides, that man saved our lives. Oil shakes her head. Illogical to think a man who mans his living off lying would tell the truth. Even to his own crew, with his barge as such a shape, the chance of Krieg lying were 97%. Complete certainty. Don tries to play it cool, just glaring at the ground right in front of him, and then pulls his fist off the ground. Yeah, it was good. I feel re-energized. He looks around. This is a nice restaurant. I'll take it. Carne yells, so that's why you came. Don points to his beat-up ship with his other hand. My ship's ruined. I want a new one. Leave after you've gotten your things. What? Don Krieg. That's not what you promised. Jin tries to protest. Don would have punched him, if Luffy hadn't interrupted his thoughts by laughing so loudly right now. She. Luffy tilts his head letting his laughter die down. Hey, better idea. How about, he lifts one finger and points to Sanji. Sanji makes food for your men. He points to the customers, they all leave, and he points to Krieg, and once you're all fed and taken care of, he points Todd, I come and kick all of your asses so you can just die, okay. There was a silence throughout the restaurant. Then Don Krieg breaks the silence with a huge laugh of his own. Ha ha ha. You're the brat, aren't you? The ballsy one who claims to have been on the Grand Line. Luffy shrugs, yeah, what about it? Thoroughly pissed. Krieg uses his superior height to try to intimidate him, looking down on the boy from a distance. He lied to you, Jin. He says with a sleazy smile. Do you really think someone like him could handle the line? Jin looks at his captain then to Luffy. The differences were like night and day. Krieg was tall, big, and obviously saw himself as the strongest man in the room. Luffy was small, shorter, and young, the only thing giving him a definition of muscle are his red coat's shoulder pads. The answer should have been obvious. It should have been, but when Jin looked at Luffy's eyes, black and big and oh so old, it was like he is looking at a king. Sanji struggles a little in Luffy's grip. Luffy, let go, I have to. Luffy squeezes him a little, stopping him from saying whatever he was going to say. You're just mad that I can handle the Grand Line and you got your ass handed to you on a silver platter. Krieg doesn't find that funny. Why you little? Before Krieg could do anything another voice came up. Did you hear that? The panicked voice of Usopp takes over. Even Krieg couldn't make it there? So, Oil's monotone reply. Usopp sighs, I'm not saying we aren't going but maybe we are a little underprepared? I mean. Zoro pauses, have you ever seen Luffy being prepared? Point taken, you guys are insane, Johnny muttered. All eyes turned to the three who had a casual conversation. You planning to rumble, Luffy? Zoro twirls a sword, need a hand? Luffy shrugs, no, it's fine. You can just stay in your seat. Usopp tries to put on a brave act, oh, okay. That's too bad then. If you don't need us, there's nothing we can do about that. He gave a thumbs up, I'll help ya, if you still need it. Gee, good luck. Zoro smacked him in the back of the head. What the hell was that for, Zoro? Shut up and stay still, Zoro snapped. Children, please. Oil holds both their hands up, you are both special. Krieg did laugh at that. That's your crew. Krieg looks down at Luffy. It may have just been a lack of information, but even a fleet of 5,000 men was defeated in 7 days. The chefs shook. 7 days? Krieg's men only lasted 7 days? What could have happened to them? Luffy's jaw dropped. Wow, you guys are even more hopeless than I thought. The sound of breaking the glass was somewhere. Did you even make it to the first island? Jeez. Krieg made a move to attack Plop. Zeph drops a bag in the middle of the floor right in between Luffy and Don Krieg. Poor Jin looked more and more lost with each passing second. Here's food for 100 men. Help him get it on the ship. The chefs were not so happy about this development, each one finding themselves brave enough to speak against their boss. What's the meaning of this? What are you thinking, head chief? If his crew gets better, they'll take over the restaurant. Zeph could not care less, only if they've got the guts. He looked at Krieg with utter disregard. Isn't that right? Mister couldn't get through the Grand Line? Krieg looked at Zeph, for the first time looking less like he was stepping on a bug. You're Zeph the Red Leg. He states the obvious, so you're still alive. The cook, captain, one of the greatest pirates in history. Zeph rolls his eyes, I'm alive, so what? It's not your concern. As you see, I make my living as a cook. Krieg folded his arms, that's a nice way of saying it. But from the look of things, it's not that you chose to be a cook, but it's the only thing you're able to do. He looked to Zeph's peg leg. I've heard about Zeph the Red Leg. Oil nods, he's an expert at fighting without his hands. His legs are so strong, they can break rocks, or even leave a footprint on iron. He earned the name, Red Leg, from his shoes, dyed red with the blood of his enemies. Though even losing a leg his power has not diminished over the years. Zeph raises a brow at them, accurate, but doesn't matter. But it seems that you've lost that ever so precious leg of yours, Krieg points out, thinking he could belittle the man. He does know he can still use his leg, even with a peg leg, right? Usopp leans over to the logician. He's trying to be clever, just ignore him, Oil whispers back. I heard a rumor that you had an accident while sailing. For you, losing a leg means you can no longer do battle. He concludes his reasoning so cleverly. Sanji grits his teeth at Krieg's taunting, not taking lightly of someone messing with Zeph. Only he can do that. If only he could get out of this rubbery hold. Zeph doesn't seem to give a shit to what this guy thought. Why would I need to fight? I don't need my feet to cook, as long as I have a pair of hands. Just cough out what you really want to say. He was getting tired of this. Krieg gives the shittiest of smiles. It was like if fish had teeth but kept the lips. Zeph the Red Foot, I know that you're a man who's come back alive from the Grand Line. You must have kept a journal of that voyage. Hand it over. Luffy put a hand on Zeph's shoulder, patting it. Not bad, old man. Good to know the East Blue has some representation. Zeph steps on Luffy's toes, making him squirm, simultaneously letting go of Sanji. Shut it, kid. Indeed, I have the journal, but I'm not going to give it to you. That journal isn't just mine, it's the pride of my entire crew. It's far too valuable for the likes of you. Krieg's smile turned into a sneer. So you are not willing to give me information. True, I couldn't get through the Grand Line, he spat out. But behold, for I am Don Krieg, the greatest. I was strong enough to make it through. I had enough men, enough ambition. The only thing I lacked was information. That's the only reason why I failed. Luffy is not hesitant to laugh, causing everyone in the damn restaurant to turn, in horror, at him. No, really you are just pathetic. He grins cheekily, you can never survive there. The air grew cold at the taunt. Zoro looked like he was trying to cover his own laughter. Johnny and Yosaku fell off their own seats and Tobio smiled widely, being one of the few to witness this ass-kicking monster. Usopp was shaking his head either in true pity of Krieg or faking it. Either way, it did make him look 20% cooler. Sanji watched the rubbery boy with one eye. Krieg lost the sneer, face turned completely unamused. What was that? You heard me, Luffy said almost bored. That sea would eat you up and spit you out. You're too weak. In body, mind, soul, like everything. Whatever category there is, a high chance you are just weak in it. Does that make sense? Oil raises their hand, yes. As a mathematician, I have gathered the necessary data to evaluate his skills. They flipped their journal to a random page. By looking at him for 5 minutes I have deduced with the conclusion that he is indeed pathetic. Zoro didn't bother to hide his laugh at that. Even a few of the chefs let a chuckle slip even though the fear was still there. Don Krieg felt a blood vessel pop. Give me your information, he ordered this time. Oh scary. Once I organize another pirate fleet, I'll get the One Piece. Then, I'll become the Pirate King. Wait, what? Hold on there, bud. The only one to be Pirate King will be me. Patty, coming out from his shock, easily turned back to pissed. You're no match for him, he yelled. Sanji keeps his tongue still, watching with interest. Luffy grunts, I'm not standing down, especially on this point. King means king and that means him. What did you say, boy? Don Krieg tried to look scary. I'm giving you one chance to take that back. You don't have to. I'm just announcing the truth. Luffy folds his arms, like an child. This is no game. Murder was written across Krieg's face. Of course it isn't, Luffy agreed easily, but I'm still going to win. After all, I'm the one who actually survived the Grand Line. Burn! Usopp Whisper yelled, physically unable to stop himself. Krieg ignores him. I'm going to give this food to my subordinates and then return back here. The only thing I need is this ship and Zeph's travel log. If any of you still feel like dying after I warned you, then so be it, I'll bury you to the bottom of the sea. Krieg left with a dramatic whoosh of his cape, leaving a shocked Jin and several stunned chefs. No customers though, as they have all made their exit out the back entrance of the restaurant. Zeph and all the cooks stayed. Zeph turned to Luffy, you have sailed the Grand Line? Luffy gives a wide grin. Yeah? Zeph gives him a look up and down, and survived? Luffy waved his hand in a, sort of, motion, living his perspective. Zeph raised a brow at this kid, you're a strange one alright. Luffy thumbed his hat, yeah, but the best pirates are. Jin was shaking on the floor. He looked unbelievably guilty. Sanji. Owner. Please forgive me. I had no idea. No idea at all that this would happen. I needed to feed my men. I never would have imagined things to turn out this way. Zeph huffs. I don't need an apology from the likes of you. Fool. We are but cooks in this establishment. We'll feed anybody who comes along. Sanji huffed out some smoke. We feed people food. That's what cooks do. All current chefs were pissed at that. They could not get mad at the boss. He was the boss. What he says goes. But Sanji. Some would feel a great amount of regret, but with a life on open sea there were times in your life that you got to point a gun at your crew member. You're being Krieg's little puppet, Sanji. How could you feed that monster? He should have starved. I've had enough of your nonsense. They took their rage out on the youngest chef. Tobio moved forward to defend him. Hey, leave him alone, you big bastards. Gonzo is quick to pick his grandson up. No, Tobio. This is not our fight. They had only been there for 4 days. While still on good term with the chefs. But there was an unsaid code around here and Gonzo knew he didn't know enough to keep his boy out of trouble. Even Zeph watched seeing how his eggplant would defend himself. Sanji wasn't even fazed at the gun pointed at him, taking a slow drag from his cigarette. He slowly opened out his arms. Do it. If you want to shoot me, do so, his voice echoed. I'm aware. I know that he's a hopeless bully. But that's none of my business. I don't care. I don't care what happens after they had their meal. Not a care in the world. I'm a chef. Nothing more. When people are hungry, I offer them food. That's all there is to it. For a chef, isn't that enough? That shut them up, but the guns were still not going down. There was a tense atmosphere in the air and no one was willing to break it. Hey, Luffy shouted before anyone could make a move on Sanji. I just said I would kick his ass after they eat, so just let Sanji cook. He took a seat in his chair leaning back. So put your awesome bazooka thing away and just let me handle this. Patty slowly put his custom-made syrup meatball cannon, a cannon in the shape of a lobster, down. You You ain't involved with this. He pointed to Sanji. This is all his fault and his reckless actions. I know you feed the customer I chase away from time to time, and I'm not going to say who was right and who was wrong for those times, but it's all your fault. Oil coughs in their hand. While I understood your line of thinking, this is not the most logical decision within the context of this situation. It does seem to be the best. They look over to Sanji, but this being a restaurant, it is only logical to think that people will be served first. All other actions must be calculated after this stable factor. The chefs looked dumbly at the kid while Carne gathered himself together first. We know better than that. Those pirates will be attacking us later on. We shouldn't have aided them. Carne finally faced the moment of truth. Owner, why are you siding with Sanji? What's going on here? The chefs finally put down their guns as the boss took center stage. Yeah, this is all his fault. He's going to destroy your precious restaurant. Shut the hell up, you stupid eggplants. Zeph spat at each one of them. Have you ever had the experience of starving to death? Can you imagine how horrible it is, having no food and water in this vast ocean? Patty was the only brave enough to ask, what do you mean, owner? Zeph pointed to Sanji. The difference between all of you and Sanji is that he knows that feeling. The chefs fell silent at that, letting that statement sink in. Do you mean? He can't be serious, right? I never thought. Zeph pointed to himself, rather than just standing idle with petty talk. You'd all better leave this place now. He looked to the front entrance, eyes filled with determination. I'm staying right here to fight. I can't simply let them trample over me. The chefs were offended as they start picking up their weapons one by one. Me too. This is where I work. I have no place to go to anyway. Jin got on his knees, not quite believing what just happened. Sanji, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. He chokes up, but you shouldn't fight him. Hey, Jin, Sanji said in a deadly serious voice. Feeding the hungry is what being a cook is all about. However, now that your captain's all filled up, he's nothing more than a plunderer. His eye lost all their warmth in just a second. Whatever I do to your pals, don't come bitching at me. I'll kill anybody who tries to take this restaurant. Even you, got that? Jin's jaw dropped. Not from any fear of that promise but out of shock. This was Don Krieg they were talking about, not just another plunderer, and Sanji knew this. But he was still going to fight? And helped in the first place? Jin rarely felt respect for others, but this was a man who knew what his convictions were. No matter the situation, he wasn't going to let anyone or anything change that. Patty sneers, hey, you saved his life just to kill him off? You're so thoughtful, Sanji. Sanji rolled his eye, shut up, you fat ass cook. Zoro, getting bored with just watching the chefs fighting each other, thought about what Luffy said. Hey Jin, who defeated you on the Grand Line anyway? Jin shakes his head, body shivering from the memory of that night. The truth is, I don't know anything. What happened at the Grand Line on the 7th day? Was it a dream? Or reality? It's still fresh in my mind. Sweat ran down his face, eyes went blank. It was unbelievable. Just one man destroyed a whole fleet of 50 ships. Everyone who was not a time traveler stare. What? Jin talks like he was in another world. It all happened so suddenly. He showed up out of nowhere and started sinking our ships, one after the other. If a storm hadn't come along, our maiden ship would have been destroyed too. He took a shaky breath. I have no idea how many of my mate's ships survived. But it was too scary for me to accept it all. I don't want to even think about what had happened. That man. His stare pierces through you, like the eyes of a hawk. Zoro's eyes sharpen. Sitting up, what did you say? Zeph looked on coolly. That guy. He must be the man known as Hawk Eyes. The fact that you noticed his eyes leads me to believe that it was him. It all sounds like something you would do. Usopp started to shake a bit. The Hawk Eyes man. You know that guy, Zoro? Zoro nodded. That's the man I've been looking for. I sailed across the oceans in search of him. Johnny grinned. I told you he was around here, bro, thumbing to himself. Hawk-eyed man, one chief said. If it's that red-eyed man, I remember him coming to this shop before. Another nodded his head. Right. You mean the guy who got sewn that his eyes turned red? Another recalled the event. Yeah, that idiot who caught on fire and blew up. Heh, that was quite a sight. Johnny slowly lowered his thumb. Well, I guess it was destiny. Don't give me that, Zoro yelled. Destiny. Oil murmurs. But it was true, that the chance that Johnny's misleading information and Mihawk's appearance both happened were astronomical, and nevertheless it happened. Such a strange world, all variables must be accounted for. Fascinating. Sanji speaks up. Maybe he had some kind of grudge to settle with you guys. Jin shook his head. Not that I know of. Zeph folded his arms over his chest. Perhaps you disturbed his nap. Stop the bullshit. Jin yelled out of anger or out of desperation. Why in the world would he destroy our fleet just for that? Zeph shrugged. Don't get so worked up. I'm just making assumptions. Stuff like that happens at the Grand Line. Usopp rolls his eyes. Just what kind of place is that? A place where anything can happen. Oil supplies uselessly. A place where logic and reason are pushed to the limits. Can't you be more concerned about your safety? Usopp snapped. Even with faulty information, Johnny squirmed a bit under Zoro's glare. At least it is clear now my destination really will be the Grand Line. Zoro smiles. That man, I can definitely meet him there. Sanji barely glanced their way. Are you morons? You must be those who are eager to die. Zoro looked coolly over at Sanji. That's right. But it's none of your business. There was no heat in his stare. No competition or annoyance. Just one person talking to another. When I decided to become the greatest swordsman in the world, I threw away the rest of my life. I'm the only one who can say that I'm an idiot. Luffy grinned. His crew is so awesome. Same. Usopp folded his arms out, puffing out his chest. As a man of the sea. Same here. Liar. Zoro hits him gently with the hilt of his sword. Sanji looked away in anger, but not exactly at them. Fools. Oil couldn't say they disagree. Luffy aims to become the freest man on the sea, leaning over for Sanji's ears only. But rather than mold himself to fit the world's standards, he plans to mold the world to fit his standards, logically. Sounded more like insanity. How selfish, Sanji settles on saying. Oil, for the first time since Sanji has met them, grins. Yes, he is. Zeph smirks, pleased with what he was hearing. Patty started stomping his foot. Hey, hey. Do you bastards realize what's going on here? Don Krieg's ship is right in front of this restaurant. Do all the talking only after we get out of this mess. Jin struggled to see what to do. Luffy waved his hand. Go feed you, crew, they really don't deserve you. I'll deal with them later. Yosaku and Johnny looked at each other. We'll fight too. Yeah. Can you imagine the bounty we can get with that guy? Tobio picked up a fork weapon. Yeah, this our home now. Gonzo shakes his head. I'm getting too old for. He looks out the window. They're coming. There was rumbling heard throughout the ship. They could feel the pirates starting to awake with the sound of a war cry screaming throughout the air. The chefs grabbed onto their weapons, ready to be boarded and go for an all-out battle. Luffy sipped his water. Why do I feel like something's going to happen? Man, his memory is shitty. Oil holds onto their chair, because he is here. Luffy feels the presence. He put down his drinks. Well, that was fast. Zoro looks at the both of them. What are you? FWOOSH. It was a strange sound. A sound none of the chefs or newly awakened pirates have ever heard and therefore barely registered what was going on. As it was, it is not every day an entire ship is cut in half like that. The chefs looked in shock. What? What's going on? The ship's been split in two. The ship's been split in two. The current from the sinking ship was huge and cause for concern. Johnny and Yosaku stood up from their chairs as the Barati wobbled from the impact. This is a problem. What about the Mary? Zeph started barking orders around. Rise the anchor. Get this ship going, else it is gonna get dragged under. Yes, sir. Several chefs went to the more boat part of the restaurant. Tobio held his pitchfork tightly in his hand, turning to Oil. What was that? Oil doesn't hesitate to pat the boy's head. They mentally congratulating themselves to tolerate human contact at this point. Just an overdramatic pirate. They say simply, what else could it be? The astronomer holds back as the room cleared out. The chefs were manning their stations and the straws hats were following the bounty hunters outside. Soon the room was empty, but they made their way to the prone figure still on the ground. Jin, I presume. The man looked like he took a punch to the gut, eyes hollow, face pained. He didn't answer them, doesn't even lift his head. Oil sighs. I presume correctly then. They chewed on their lip. I also presume that I know your situation and in that I offer to you my services. They held out a hand. Please give me our hand. Jin does look up at that, for no other reason but to make it clear that he wanted to be left alone. I only ask because this is of the utmost importance. Hand still out, please. Jin glares but slowly gave his hand to the kid. Oil has to use both their hands to hold Jin's, turning his hand palm up, looking inside. He agreed to their conditions out of his own free will. They now had his hand. They brushed their fingers lightly from the base of his hand to his fingertips. They were rough with use and wear. Oil wonders how many people he had killed with these hands. Little pages started forming on Jin's hands. A number appeared. That many. The hell? Jin was sure he should be panicking a bit more, but he was just so tired. Sure, his hand was becoming paper. This might as well happen. Oil looks through the pages collecting information. Age, 28. Birth, April 7th. Height, 173 centimeters. Bounty, 15 million. Skills, experience, etc. All data they could think of what to get on this man. Useful to meaningless. Serious to silly. Any data was good data in their mind. And what they found gave them a feeling they didn't precisely hate but rather much avoid, annoyance. Listen to me well, they grit out. You have potential for someone in the sea. Being a commander of 50 ships. All under a fairly incompetent captain, but 50 ships is 50 ships. And that is why it is an insult to reason itself that someone of your talent is being held back. They put emphasis on each word. Jin stares at them, not really understanding. I see great things in your future. I see nothing. A great fortune to be had. But only if you get rid of that man. Jin grinds his teeth, the first sign of emotion he has had. You don't know anything. Your loyalty is admirable, steamrolling over that fact. How you never leave him behind and are always willing to sacrifice your own safety for his. Control your emotions. But there is a difference between loyalty and blind following. Few people seem to understand. You are following a man to your own ruin. Did you forget you are your own man? Are you some object to be used and thrown away? Jin flinches. Krieg would never. He would. They stress. You know it. I know it. He did it to his own brother unless you choose to forget that fact. Jin had the decency to flinch at that. That was different. Ganzak would be safer. Please spare me the excuses. Denying facts will get you nowhere. Deep breathing, control yourself. A captain and his crew is not a one-sided relationship. You serve your captain and he serves you as well. How can they get him to listen? He has failed his duty in that. In fact, he never even upheld them in the first place. All his goals have been for himself, never the crew. Please listen to me. You are so much more than a tool to be used. You're worth so much more than the can be tools. People can be used and thrown away. They knew this. They planned for this. But to see a person being misused. You believe in the strong. You are strong. They gave Jin his hand back. Make your own choices. They left for the door as well. They didn't want to be like Krieg. Not only was he a fool, misusing and wasting the potential of people he has at his disposal, but he was like them. They didn't want to be like them.
Oil shakes their head. This was too many emotions in too little time. They would come back to this conversation on a later note. They moved to join their crew on the edge of the Barati, a little ways away from the chef's attention to the front of the Barati.
Nami sis. The Straw Hats and company looked around the turbulent ocean, not finding their last member. Luffy waved his hands, finally reaching them. It's fine, she already went on ahead to our next location. Usopp's jaw dropped. What? That ship was given to us by Kaya. Luffy nodded, yup, popping the P at the end. Usopp grabbed him by the coat and started shaking him. And you are letting it be run by one person. She isn't a dingy, she needs a crew. Zoro looked to the horizon. Hold up, I can see her, it's the Going Merry. Oil sighs, we shall catch up with her later. More importantly, they turned to the sinking barge. We have a birdie to deal with. Luffy laughed despite his rubber head bobbing back and forth. Yeah, Zoro, you got some ass to kick. Usopp huffed, putting his captain down. Fine. We'll deal with the evil Grand Line bastard first. What a pain in the ass, captain. Oil points to the bounty hunters. You two, ready your boat. This won't take long and I don't want to let Nami out of our sight too soon. They have no clue on how to navigate to Kokoyashi village, but these two do. Both bounty hunters salute the astronomer, right, and started preparing their boat. Zoro glares down at them. Won't take long, huh? Shit, I do not mean to be rude, Zoro, but I am afraid that this encounter will not last as long as you would like it to. Zoro stared straight ahead. You don't know that. Yes, I do, they said just as roughly. No you don't, Zoro snapped, turning towards them. You think you know everything and sure you know a lot, he admitted easily, but you don't know me and you don't know what I am willing to do. He looked back on his goal, and no phony baloney god is going to tell me otherwise. Oil didn't respond. Neutral as always. That pissed Zoro off more than anything. You know what your problem is. He glared at them, folding his arms. Please, their voice borderlining sarcasm, do tell. You always have to be in control. He pointed a finger at them but didn't touch, a control freak. If one thing isn't under your eye, you flip. That is correct, they couldn't let one thing go past them, not one thing. Anything could be of use, and anything missed was on her. If the agreement surprised Zoro, he didn't show it, but you can't be perfect. He thought about all the times they found weird shit that was useful. Whatever that means, knowing what is going to happen isn't the same as being in control. I can't afford perfection. Oil has thought about this for years. They lived on the Grand Line after all. Perfect. 100%. An impossible number. Nothing is 100% and I can't afford to waste my time and energy on impossible, so I must just accept circumstances. I must work with what I have and calculate the outcome of my efforts. They couldn't keep starting and stopping. They were dealing with time again. It was always moving too fast for their liking. They had to get organized and that meant understanding time. Luffy might not understand the concept of time but they do and they plan to use it. Time does not stop, mistakes happen. The most logical thing is to deal with it. Getting emotional or upset only wasted that precious time that can be useful. There is so much to keep track of. You must be perfect though, Oil shoots back. You must be the greatest, 100% undefeated. If the bandana wasn't in the way Zoro was sure they would be looking at him in the eye. You are going to become the world's greatest swordsman. That is only the most logical outcome, so don't think I don't know. You're the first mate of the Straw Hat Pirates. They take a breath. So you have no choice but to be the greatest. The strongest belong together. Zoro stares at them. They stare right back. He huffs, looking away and folding his arms, control freak. Oil felt their lips twitch, strange, mindless brute. While they liked to think they were getting better at emotions, relations were still quite new. What they had with Zoro was illogical. Strange. By words alone they did not seem to get along in the conventional way as he did with Luffy, yet it was not as hostile as him with Sanji. It seemed to be more like Zoro and Nami's interactions but without the fear, respect, he has for her. This banter. This meaningless playfulness, this reminded them of. Look, over there, it's a man. One of the chefs saw the figure in the distance. Several of the pirates saw him too, screaming exposition. The man who destroyed our fleet. That man is that S. He's come this far to kill us, we're doomed. Zoro felt the air leave his body at the sight. A lone man on a raft, too small to be a boat but perfect to be a coffin, floating casually between the sinking barge. He was a tall man, pale skin and a black goatee, dressed in an outfit that was the personification of red wine. There was a small golden cross around his neck and a huge black sword on his sword's blade was of gold and jewel encrusted, looking far more ceremonial than combative. But what was most striking of all was his gold eyes. Eye of a hawk hunting its prey. So, Tobio looked over the rails, does everyone in the Grand Line look that extra? Yup, Luffy, Oil, and even Zeph answer without hesitating. Usopp looked over being the only one confused, so, I take it that's him? The man I've been searching for. Zoro looked with both fear and excitement. Hawkeye's Mihawk. Hawkeye's Mihawk? Patty repeated from his side of the Bharati, his head going out on the barge himself. Carne rubbed his chin. The strongest swordsman in the world. That's the guy who instantly sank Krieg's fleet of 50 ships, which should have withstood the Grand Line. And he just destroyed another one of Krieg's ships. One of the chefs tried to get a better look, but he looks no different from any other ordinary person. And he doesn't seem to be armed with anything special. Zeph looked on gravely, his weapons on his back. The chefs gasped, no way, you can't mean? He destroyed that huge ship with that sword? He's the great swordsman, Hawkeyes, Zeph said with no little distaste, a swordsman above all of the world's swordsmen. I never thought I'd be able to meet him so soon. Oil looked at him. By their time graph, he should have retired around 9 years ago as Sanji was 10 when they met. That meant that if Zeph and Mihawk started their career right after Roger's death, they didn't meet once in the 11 years they were at sea. They didn't know if Mihawk had a name for himself yet or if Zeph was one of the crews of the original pirate era, but it is a theory nonetheless. Their own gaze locked onto those eyes. Finally, the destined time has come. One of the pirates started to panic at the sight of death incarnated, pulling out 2 guns foolishly thinking they could protect him. Bastard, why did you attack us? Mihawk looked at him like he was a flea. To kill time, he said badassly. Bullshit. He foolishly tried to shoot the man. Try being used correctly, as Mihawk just swerved all the bullets away from himself to the other side. What? The pirate confuddled, I'm sure I was right on target. It deviated, Zoro said right behind the confused pirate, causing said pirate to scream at the sudden appearance of a person behind him. How did he not notice this guy sneaking aboard the sinking barge? He tip of his sword. He explained it like a nerd. Several of the pirates on the sinking barge took notice of the sudden presence. That's ridiculous. Hey, who the hell are you? Swords, 3 of them, could it be? Zoro ignored them all, eyes never leaving Mihawk. I've never seen such graceful skill. Luffy called over, Zoro, stop fangirling and get with it. Mihawk heard Zoro all the same, a sword with power alone is not powerful. Zoro tried to ignore the damn brat he called a captain in favor of his dream being right in front of him, so this ship was cut apart with that sword, too. Of course. It's clear now, Zoro's grin was feral, his body already shaking at the thought of battle. You're the strongest, I've been sailing the seas to face you. Mihawk looked on as neutral as, well, Oil, what's your mission? Zoro tied his bandana around his head to be the best. Mihawk had a ghost of a smirk on his face but didn't quite cut it, fool. You got time to spare, don't you? Zoro pointed his sword at Mihawk. Let's duel, shall we? The other pirates started getting wiser. This guy is Zoro. The 3 swords, Roronoa Zoro. What? Pirate hunter, that guy. Ex-pirate hunter. Luffy shouts from the side. Usopp, like any friend did, turned his gaze away from the 2 swordsmen back at the horizon. Hey! Things are getting worse. Luffy. Going merry is about to be gone from our sights. Luffy didn't even look fazed. Hey, Luffy. This is his dream, Usopp, Luffy says softly. I promise to never get in his way. His smile's a humorless smile. Even if I order him to stop he won't. So that's why we are standing here, watching. Usopp opens and closes his mouth, not sure what to say. Oil raised a hand to Usopp, breath hitching. It will be over soon, Usopp. They knew it would be. They had seen this scene 3,425 times at this point and had studied every angle. The plain fact being that no amount of help was going to stop Zoro. What little training could make Zoro seem more of a foe and have Mihawk kill him? 47%. Any warning of attacks or powers would just make Zoro said that battle was dishonorable and may not fight, 75%. And getting involved would only ruin Zoro's image in Mihawk's eye as a future equal, 92%. The fact of the matter was, Zoro was going to get hurt. This was fact. They couldn't change it, so why did it still hurt? Mihawk didn't look the least bit amused but got off his coffin boat. Duel? Such a pitiful weakling. Zoro met him on the same sinking wreckage. If you really were a fine swordsman, you should have been able to judge the difference in strengths without drawing your sword, yet he was the one to get off the boat, challenging me. Are you that brave? Or simply reckless? This is for my own ambition. Zoro put his sword in his mouth, going all out on the first attack, and for a promise to my fallen friend. Yosaku was biting his fingernails. What kind of fight will it turn out to be? Johnny looked far more confident. No one can win against Zoro, bro. Bro's the best. Zoro glared at the small piece of metal in Mihawk's hands. Hey now, just what is that? I'm unlike those idiots who use their all to hunt rabbits. Mihawk held up his small butter knife. Though you're famous enough to be called a swordsman, this is the weakest of the 4 oceans, East Blue. Unfortunately, I'm carrying nothing smaller than this, he said with genuine pity. There is a limit on how much you can underestimate me, Zoro said with a tingle of anger. Just don't regret it when you die. Zoro places Wado Ichimonji, Kurina's blade, in his mouth. Oil shifted on their feet. How could he even believe he had a chance of winning? The percentage was 0.004% of him defeating Mihawk at this stage. But it was in his nature. It was his reasoning and they could not do anything about it. It would be stranger if he backed down. Hear me well, little fish. Mihawk held his butter knife almost menacingly. You're but someone who's yet to experience the real world. Demon cut. Zoro attacked without hesitation. Clink. Only for all 3 swords to be stopped by the single butter knife. Johnny's jaw dropped. What? Zoro bro's demon technique was broken. But that has always worked 100% of the time. Yosaku looked equally as surprised. What in the world happened? Zoro tried to budge his swords but he couldn't move them. What just happened? No one could avoid this technique before, but Mihawk stopped it with just his toy. Is this really happening? This is strength. It's so far from what Zoro has known before. A world shouldn't be this far off. That can't be, he can't be this far behind. It's like Luffy's. His warnings and claims of such an unspeakable power. Cutting nothing. Cutting everything. Zoro took his offer of getting stronger at his word. He knew that he still had much to learn but he saw the glimpse of the top and he was still so far down. Zoro finally got out of Mihawk's hold and started cutting at will. It was more his body moving than his mind at this point. Nothing but years of training now put into action. Come on, Zoro bro, Johnny cheered, show him what you've really got. Come on, Yosaku cheered. Even Usopp took it up, beat him up, Zoro. He is losing his cool, Oil observes. Mihawk is egging him on and he is just letting him. Such unrestrained skill, Mihawk's gracefully deflected every single one of Zoro's slices. I didn't come all this way to lose against this toy-like thing. Zoro shouted on the edge of desperation. Kuina was counting on him. This wasn't just his dream, this was their dreams. A dream big enough for the both of them. He promised her, to become the greatest in the world he had to become strong, for her sake too. My strength will even reach the heavens. I'm going to become the strongest in the world. He promised he will. If he could just defeat this man. What burdens you so? Why do you seek the ultimate power? Mihawk looked down upon him. You weakling. Bro's a weakling you say? Johnny repeated. You damn bastard, I'll teach you a thing or two. Yosaku rolled up a fist. Both boys were ready to jump off the ship to save their bro's honor. Luffy held them both back easily by the scuffs of their necks. Stop, Yosaku. Johnny. Don't interfere. Just hang on. He held them down to the floor. This isn't just a fight. His eyes never left Zoro. This is a matter of man's pride. Usopp nods, understanding what Luffy was saying. He comes face to face with the bounty hunters. This is his dream. We can't interfere with his battle. Zoro rolled back, regaining his position. I can't afford to lose, Tiger. Not only is Kurina counting on him but Luffy. He told Luffy that he was going to be the world's greatest swordsman. He told him, promised him, only the best can be on the Pirate King's ship. He had to accomplish at least the world's great, otherwise it would be embarrassing to his captain, the future king of the pirates. Oil. Even that brat knew what it was worth. Even they had faith that he will be the greatest, no matter what their excuses are, it was faith. Told him that he will be the greatest, ordered him that he had to be the greatest, to be the first mate. The greatest belong with one another. They are attracted to each other, he promised. Hunting prey. Shink. Zoro is stabbed in the chest. Bro, his boys were losing it at the sight of their brother being hurt. Luffy's face was carefully controlled, trying to hold back Conqueror's haki that might come when he saw his nakama hurt. This was his fight and Luffy knew he would lose this battle but he would win in the end. Oil's only reaction was clenching their teeth. As useless as this fighting was, this was Zoro's fight. This was a necessary setback in order to spring him forward to match Mihawk in the future. This was necessary. There was a pause in battle as Mihawk simply held the knife in his prey's chest, waiting for Zoro to make the next move. He was not expecting Zoro to move the SL Mihawk's eyes. Eyes that have been nothing but cold and bored this whole time, came to life for the first time, widening in surprise. Do you wish to have this go through your heart? Why don't you step back? Zoro breathed a little bit of blood falling down. I don't know. I'm not sure why myself. He gritted his teeth through the pain, but if I were to take even one step back, I believe all those important oaths, promises, and many other deals, till now, will all go to waste. And I'll never be able to return before you, ever again. Mihawk's stare was as cold as stone and just as unmoving. Yes, such is defeat. Zoro has the audacity to laugh, that's why I can't step back. Even if it means death? Zoro grinned. Death may be better. Mihawk didn't budge. His eyes were still as cold and hard, but there was a glimmer of something more. Kid, announce your name. He took out the butter knife. Zoro didn't even flinch. Roronoa Zoro. He went into his next position. I'll remember that. Mihawk grabbed his sword hanging on his back. It's been a while since I've seen such strong will. And effortlessly held the giant black blade in his hands. Kuro, one of the 12 supreme grade swords, as a reward. A gesture to a fellow swordsman. I will wield the black sword. The most powerful sword in the world, to end your life. Oil was not sure what just happened. How did he get that off his back without bending over? Manliness, Luffy and Usopp folded their arms in respect. Zoro smirked. I appreciate your offer. This is his last chance. World's number one or death? Johnny and Yosaku were on their knees. That's enough, bro, please stop. Three Swords secret technique. Zoro started his move and for just a slip second, a second that most people never see in a lifetime, Mihawk looked impressed. 3,000 realms. And probably the world's greatest cut Zoro right in half. Two swords broke like chopsticks. His next words slid through unconsciously. I lost. Losing wasn't something he'd ever imagined possible. So this was what it was like to possess the greatest power in the world. Zoro put away his swords with as much grace as a man bleeding out could. He turned back to his foe behind him, making sure that every part of him was facing forward and held his arms out wide. Again, Mihawk was surprised. What's this? To be surprised not once but twice in a day. And somewhere in the East Blue. Truly no more unexpected things can happen. Blood started coming out Zoro's mouth in greater quantity. A wound on one's back is the shame of a swordsman. Mihawk was wrong as he felt his third surprise for today. A smile creeped on his face. Well said. And with another slash, the wound on Zoro's chest was formed. A scar that will follow him to death and beyond. Zoro dropped Kuina's sword as he barely stood. It was in that second that Mihawk felt a powerful aura. It was so fast and so subtle that most would just assume it was a chill at the sight of the fallen demon three swordsmen. But no, Mihawk knew better. This was the power of someone of the Grand Line. The power to destroy thousands of enemies at once without hesitation or mercy. This was the power of a king. Mihawk refocused on the one bleeding out in front of him. Don't rush your death, young lad. Zoro, bro, Johnny and Yosaku were not ashamed to let their tears flow. Usopp had only a sliver of more self-control, Zoro, but only a sliver. Sanji watches horrified. Why? He thought about the guy's dream of being the best, that guy and his stupid ideas. His opponent was the true world's greatest. It pissed him off to no end. Why is this guy so focused on something that he could never have? Oil would have similar thoughts. If they ever allowed themselves to think, that is. The chances of rain, 13%. The chances of wind, 67%. The chances of fish, 89%. The chances of Zoro no don't focus on that. Don't think about how much blood Zoro is losing, 47%. Or how close he was to dying, 78%. Or how he is about to pass out, 97%. Don't think. Breathe. The result was obvious. Sanji yelled over the railings. Why didn't you give up your ambitions? Realizing inevitable death? He yelled into the sea as the swordsman fell back presumably into the sea. It's simple, to abandon your ambitions. Before Zoro could so much as touch the ocean water, a rubbery arm caught him flawlessly and carried him over. It was the most controlled rubber band hand Luffy had ever done. Damn it, bro. Johnny and Yosaku were over Zoro immediately, treating his wounds. What the hell is that? That kid's got the ability of a devil fruit, some of the chefs and pirates asked. But Luffy and Mihawk ignored the fodder, instead focusing on each other. At that moment there was only those two. Mihawk made eye contact with the monster in front of him. There were few things that could affect Mihawk, but he did stand a bit straighter at the sight. Eyes black as hell and a coat of red. And a dumb straw hat. This was not the gaze of a boy. No, this was the gaze of a man. Dare he say, an equal. But that's impossible. This was the East Blue. An unheard equal here. But then again, that straw hat. He had no doubt red-haired had something to do with this. You're the young swordsman's comrade? He called out to the monster. Thank you for watching over him. As you can see, that man's still alive. Oil and Usopp got more bandages as Johnny and Yosaku tried to stop the bleeding from his chest. Bro. say something? Zoro? Zoro? Here, quickly get him on the ship. Usopp started to shout orders. Here's some medicine, apply it quickly. Mihawk looked at the, dare he say, rival bleeding on the floor. It's still too early for you to die. He put his own sword away. My name is Dracul Mihawk. Find your true self, true world, become stronger. No matter how long it will take, I will await you in my strongest form. His voice raised near the end of his declaration. Surpass this sword. Surpass me. Roronoa Zoro. Yosaku and Johnny started cleaning Zoro's wounds as Usopp and Oil stand back a bit. Bro, say something. Usopp placed a hand on Oil's, totally not shaking, shoulder. He is going to be okay. I know, they whispered. They knew. They knew. They knew from the very beginning that he was going to be okay. I am just being illogical. Usopp squeezed their hand. Feeling isn't bad, it just happens. Annoying. For Hawkeye's Mihawk to declare such words. Zeph looked impressed. Gonzo let out a sigh. Pirates are always so overdramatic. He was sure that fight just took off another decade of his life. Tobio was shaking himself, not completely sure if it was fear or excitement, but his blood was pumping. Zoro, so cool. Declaration said. Mihawk turned his eyes to his fellow hunter. Kid, what's your mission? Pirate King. The adult said simply. Mihawk smirked. Of course, that's a difficult path, harder than surpassing me. Luffy, being the absolutely adult man he was, stuck his tongue out. Wouldn't be a big deal if it wasn't. He never really spoke to his first mate's master before. He only interacted with him at Marineford, and after, well, everything else he kinda disappeared off the map, never to be seen again. But he was a teacher through and through. When he aimed to cut Luffy hands off, he meant it. But it was like Mihawk was motivating him to be better, even at the risk of his own safety. Over the years, Luffy never lost the respect he had for the man, training Zoro and making him the absolute beast he is always meant to be. This was the man Zoro swallowed his pride to. Bowing his head, pushed aside his dream in order to get stronger for Luffy. He could never truly appreciate him the way Zoro does, but there is respect nonetheless. After all, this man has the honor of being defeated by his first mate. His bleeding is coming down. Usopp yelled. Thankfully, he just lost consciousness. Johnny and Yosaku were a mess. Bro. You monster, LF, Zoro. And then there was silence from the sobbing. Because with one fluid motion Zoro lifted his sword to the heavens. Bro. Luffy. Can you hear me? His voice was weak, but it echoed throughout the entire sea. Every fish below and every bird above could hear him. Luffy looked at his first mate. Yeah. Sorry for disappointing you. His first apology. If I don't become the greatest swordsman in the world, it will only embarrass you. Luffy felt his throat go dry at that statement. How could he forget about this? Zoro coughed up his blood, much to his soul brother's dismay. Bro, don't say anymore, bro. But disobey a direct order. Luffy put a hold to getting the Mary and Nami back for him. He told him to kick ass, to win. The captain's order is law, and he had taught the shame to completely go against it. He is truly grateful Luffy let him have this chance, and he has to let him know that it was worth it. I swear, Zoro shouted over them, over everyone, I will never lose again. It was a sob. Until the day I fight him and become the greatest swordsman, I swear. It was a promise, to never lose again. The promise was heard by deities and devils alike. Any problem with that, Pirate King? This is where is all changed, isn't it? Zoro lost this day and something in him changed forever. He learned a hard lesson he never wanted to know. That he was so far from his goal. It changed him, how he looked at his sword, how he looked at his training, how he looked at life. He had to take a good long look at himself and see. He was weak, a fact that is never easy to swallow. One that nobody wants to hear, but you have to. You have to in order to improve. One defeat taught him more than 1,000 victories. He had to accept that he isn't the best, nowhere near the best, but he has to will to overcome any and every challenge he will face from then on. Luffy felt his heart melt and his resolve strengthen 1,000,000 times over as a smile wiggles its way onto his face. No pay, popping the P. Mihawk looked the predator and hunter alike over. A crew full of fools. You make a good team. He turned back to his ship thingy. I hope we meet again. Hold on there, Hawkeyes. Oh yeah, I forgot about that ugly guy. Didn't you come for my head? East Blue's greatest, Don Krieg's head? Mihawk gracelessly stopped. That was my initial intention. But I've had more than enough fun. I'm headed back to sleep. Don looked a little crazed at being brushed off. It may have been enough fun for you, but I haven't done my bit yet. He got his guns ready. And then there are just the foolish. Mihawk muttered, getting his sword ready. Till a rubber hand smacked Krieg into the sinking floorboards. Everyone stopped to stare where the man once stood. Read the mood, asshole. Luffy retracted his hand back. Get going. Luffy said casually to the warlord. Another wave will annoy my mate's wounds. Mihawk studied Shanks' kid once again. This brat might just have a chance. Farewell. And like that he dramatically got on his boat and was gone. He disappeared. A chef said in half awe, half fear. No, he is just as dramatic as well, Oil said. Seriously, was every pirate this theatrical? Luffy looked to Usopp. Usopp, go follow Nami. Can't count on luck finding her again. You're in charge, second mate, he said with a smile. Usopp smiled back. Gotcha. The three of us will definitely get Nami back. Johnny got Zoro a better position as Oil stood next to him. You just make that cook become one of us. Then we'll make a party of 6 and head to the Grand Line. Oil pushed Yosaku off the boat next to Luffy's feet. He unsticked his face from the floor confused. What? Oil looked down at him. We won't be able to catch up with Nami anyway. They have ran the scenario 8,000 times over their head. The going merry is too fast compared to this boat. But we still need to get to there as fast as we can. They pointed to the ship. Me, Zoro, Usopp, and Johnny shall be Team 1 and follow her as fast as we can. They pointed at Luffy. Team 2 will be Luffy, Sanji, and Yosaku, who will follow us since Yosaku is the only one with navigational experience to know where they have to go. Yosaku cocked his head. Where is that? We shall be going to Kokoyashi village, they monotony replied. Yosaku choked on his tongue at that. That's where. We shall see you there, Oil politely interrupted. Yosaku looked to Johnny. Johnny looked worried but gave a thumbs up as a silent agreement went between the two. It'd be a dangerous place, Yosaku agreed, but we shall see you there. Wait, Luffy raised his hands. We can't go like this. Why? Oil had gone over this plan 1,000 times, checked every angle. Was he simply upset they haven't run this plan by him before? Was there a flaw that they didn't account for? What? We need team names, he shouted. Usopp, start the boat, we are leaving. Oil went back to their duties. Wait, no, Luffy whined, real quick. You guys are. He pointed to the 4 of them, the fishers. He pointed to Yosaku and Sanji in the distance, and we'll be the friars. Usopp gave a leveled stare. What does that have anything to do with? Fine, yes, fishers and friars. Can we please just go? Oil put a pointed edge in their voice. Right. Usopp furls the sails and their ship started leaving the port. Oil looked to their captain, Luffy. They have never been this long gone from him. This was new. Luffy smiled back full of confidence. Yeah, now go. And like that, Team 1, the fishers went to get their lost boat. Luffy watched them all the way back, but he cracks his knuckles, turning around to the Baratie. Come on, Yosaku, we got a fish to fry.